Welcome to the All-State Game of the Week on ESPNU.
BYU and Florida State's 2010 football seasons took losing turns last week. This week, quarterback Christian Ponder and his fellow Seminoles returned to Tallahassee, hoping to get their season back on a winning track as they host Riley Nelson's BYU Cougars. Both teams are in need of a season-defining victory to catapult them back into the top 25. It's next on the U. Welcome to Tallahassee, where Chief Osceola and Renegade make their traditional entrance to the delight of the Florida State faithful. We are in Tallahassee on the campus of Florida State University, welcoming you to the All-State Game of the Week on ESPNU. We come to you live from Doak Campbell Stadium as today BYU takes on Florida State. And we welcome you inside. Pam Ward along with former Florida State and NFL quarterback Danny Cannell. And boy, both of these teams, Danny, are looking for bounce-back victories today because it wasn't pretty last week. We'll start with BYU. They look pretty good, beating Washington in week 1, but then came crashing back down to earth last week against Air Force.
That's right, Pam. They started off strong in week 1, but it's been a little bit of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type situation. You don't know which team's going to show up. In week 1, J.J. DiLuigi had a great week. They were able to defeat the Washington Huskies with the highly touted Jake Locker at quarterback, but the following week at the Air Force Academy struggled all day long. They got up to a 14-7 start, but ended up going 28 unanswered points for a tough loss on the road.
And a similar situation for their opponent today in Florida State. They had an easy win against Samford in week 1. Very different story when they went to Norman and lost to Oklahoma 47-17. Christian Ponder's numbers sort of showed that as well.
Yeah, it was a humbling loss for this Florida State team that was riding a confidence high coming off a week 1 win. But Christian Ponder struggled, probably one of his worst performances as a Seminole. But I think he's the least of their worries for this Florida State coaching staff. I think they'll feel like he'll bounce back pretty strong. But I think a lot of the question marks are the guys around Christian Ponder. Very
young and inexperienced receiving corps. Ponder has been touted as a possible Heisman Trophy candidate, but needs to put up better numbers than he had last week. And Danny mentioned it, the coaching staff at Florida State really felt it was the guys around him who brought those numbers down.
Exactly, and I think the biggest shock was the 2 interceptions because Christian Ponder is typically very careful with the football, makes good decisions, and they're going to have another issue to deal with today. Left tackle Andrew Datko will not be playing, so they're going to have to figure out the left tackle position and how to protect Christian's blind side.
And that was an offensive line that gave up 4 sacks last week against Oklahoma. Here comes Florida State onto the field, getting ready to take on BYU. Kickoff coming up.
Get what you crave. Doritos Late Night Cheeseburger.
I got those Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets. Are they too spicy for you? Well, what is it?
They're only 99 cents.
Try Wendy's 99-cent spicy chicken nuggets.
All white meat seasoned with peppers and savory spices.
Yeah, but the real kick, you get 5 pieces for only 99 cents.
Only at Wendy's.
You know when it's real.
Treat yourself to a cool, creamy Frosty today. Also just 99 cents.
Yep.
Well, welcome back to Florida State, just moments away from kickoff as BYU comes into Tallahassee for the very first time. These two teams met a year ago in Utah. BYU was number 7 in the nation. Florida State coming in as decided underdogs, but Christian Ponder and company came out slinging it. Ponder 21 of 25 for 195 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for 1 more. There you see it. Florida State's Ty Jones and Lonnie Pryor helped keep the ball on the ground, and then Greg Reed did his part on defense, picking off Matt Hall, going 63 yards for the score. And the Seminoles won it convincingly, 54-28, ending BYU's 18-game home win streak. And this is a Florida State tradition, what they call the sod cemetery. Danny's very familiar with that. They take a piece of sod and then bring it home.
That's something Coach Bowden brought in here to Tallahassee when he started here as coach, and it's a pretty unique deal that they have going for the players. Gives them a little bit of extra motivation when they play on the road.
This is the 4th time that these teams have played. First time they played here in Tallahassee. Max Hall had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last year in that game. You see the first couple of games were played on a neutral field. Florida State gets the football first. Greg Reed, very dangerous, number 5 in garnet in gold. One of the best returners in the ACC, if not the nation, and Lamarcus Joyner also is back there with him.
There's a couple of guys back there that you better be careful. Anytime either one of them touch the ball, it's got potential to go the distance.
BYU number 1 in the nation, however, in kick return defense, so strength against strength. As Riley Stevenson kicks off, and we are underway in Tallahassee. Boy, that's a long kickoff. Reed gets it 9 yards deep in the end zone.
That's one way to contain a strong kick return game. Don't give him a chance to take it out.
Boy, Stevenson just boomed that kick. And now, here comes Christian Ponder and the Florida State offense. The numbers on Ponder, not so bad, but he did have a big struggling week last week on the road against Oklahoma. And Danny mentioned in the open that Andrew Datko is not playing. The left tackle hurt his shoulder that's been bothering him throughout the fall camp. Could not go today. So Henry Orlees, a redshirt freshman from Belglade, Florida, number 59, is the starting left tackle. And a starting run for Jermaine Thomas, who has emerged as the number 1 tailback, picks up 5 yards. Andrew Rich made the stop for BYU. Here are today's Impact Players, brought to you by Russell Athletics, and we already got a glimpse of Greg Reed on the kickoff.
Yeah, Greg Reed is the type of guy that can change the game with one play, but I'd be surprised if they give him many opportunities today.
Taiwan Easterling also on the baseball team here at Florida State. They need their receivers to get going, and Jermaine Thomas knocking on the door of 1,500 career rushing yards. Ponder's first pass is completed to Rodney Smith, who had a terrific spring here at Florida State. Picks up 4, so they'll be looking at a 3rd and 1.
And Rodney Smith's a guy they want to get involved early in this football game. He hasn't had too much success so far this season. It's been pretty much a 2-man show at the wide receiver position. The depth has been an issue. They're going to try to get him involved in the passing game.
James Coley, their offensive coordinator, told us yesterday that he wants to get a big game from Rodney Smith. Here's the 3rd and 1 at the 29. And Thomas goes backwards. Great defense. Jordan Pendleton coming up, leading the defensive charge. They only needed 1 yard, and they lost 4.
That's a great job at the point of attack by the BYU defense. Their front 7 is fairly young, but they come up there, get physical, especially Jordan Pendleton, number 1, getting the outside contained, forcing him back inside. But look at that. He does get away with a little face mask penalty there. Sometimes those officials miss those calls.
So Florida State could not convert on a 3rd and 1. Sean Powell punting. O'Neal Chambers waits back at his 25. Powell, a very good punter, and he displays it with that kick. Taken by Chambers around the 22. Flag comes in as Chambers is taken down at the 36-yard line. $14-yard return. We'll wait to see the penalty. Dan Romeo is our referee.
And Pam, that's something I don't think you'll see too often today as a penalty against this BYU team. They're very well coached, very disciplined in everything they do. It's a little bit of a shock to see them get the early penalty and give them a poor starting position.
Will be interesting to see how the quarterbacks are used today. Riley Nelson, the junior from Logan, Utah, with 10 career starts under his belt. They had the terrific Max Hall last year. Nelson has been splitting time with Jake Heaps, a true freshman that everybody is excited about in Cougar country. And the lefty slings it out to Cody Hoffman. Hoffman's bottled up as soon as he makes the catch. Greg Reed coming over, talented corner, kept him to a 2-yard gain. Today's Impact Players brought to you by Russell Athletics. J.J. DeLuigi, the talented running back for BYU, coming off a career week.
He's a tough back, and if you want to take pressure off some young quarterbacks, get your running game going.
Andrew Rich, we've already seen him make a stop on the defensive side of the ball, the former walk-on, who is now a star at BYU. 2nd and 8. DeLuigi gets it for the first time this afternoon, and he broke a tackle, stumbled forward to around the 26-yard line. Nigel Bradham made the stop. And finally, our last Impact player is Matt Reynolds, talented left tackle who was on a couple of big watch lists.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch him play to do. He switches from left tackle to right tackle depending on which quarterback, because you've got a righty and a lefty quarterback. So we'll have to keep an eye on where he's lined up.
Not only first team All-Mountain West last year, but first team All-Academic Mountain West. He's a terrific player, just a junior. 3rd and 5 for the Cougars. Nelson steps up in the pocket, somehow eluded the first tackler, but not the second. Dropped a couple of yards behind the line of scrimmage by Xavier Rhodes, the redshirt freshman from Miami.
Well, that's been something that's been lacking the last few years here at Florida State. They have not been able to get after the quarterback. Riley Nelson looking downfield, nowhere to get with the football. Xavier Rhodes stepping up to make the sack. Riley Nelson looking downfield, nowhere to go with the football. Florida State's defense off to a much better start already than last week. And I don't know, Pam, you saw there, BYU was going with a no-huddle offense, trying to do a little bit of what Oklahoma did last week.
That no-huddle really hurt the Seminoles defense. That, by the way, is the first sack given up by Brigham Young all season. Riley Stevenson in for his second punt. Or his first punt today, Reed gets it. Very dangerous return man. A 54-yard punt, but it's returned 9 yards. Shane Hunter with the stop, Florida State with the ball.
The turn changes everything. The turn will make you think, make you re-examine your approach, change your line, innovate, and create one of the world's fastest reacting suspensions. Reading the road 1,000 times per second. It's the turn that leads you somewhere new. Introducing the new 2011 CTS-V Coupe from Cadillac, the new standard of the world.
Style points don't show up in the box score. Talking a good game has never won a championship. And we're sorry to break it to you. It's not the shoes. It's the work, the pride, the blood, and the tears. Because Russell's wicking sweat out of the equation. Russell Dry Power Moisture Wicking Tees and Fleece. The next evolution in over 100 years of raw performance.
Start your engine.
ESPNU is home for the passionate college football fan as our experts break down the top 25 in a weekly 3-hour special.
Alabama looked fantastic this week. Where are they now, and where are they going to be? That's the key.
The Experts, Tuesday at 1 on ESPNU.
This telecast is presented in high definition on ESPNU HD by Comcast.
Welcome back to Florida State. BYU and the Seminoles still scoreless here in the first quarter. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues tonight at 7 Eastern as number 15 LSU takes on Mississippi State. And then you can follow that at 10:30 Eastern. UNLV is taking on Idaho. College football primetime presented by 5 Hour Energy on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. The Vandals of Idaho on ESPNU later on today. BYU had to punt, as did Florida State the first time they had the ball. And there's a first down run for Jermaine Thomas. Shane Hunter and Jordan Pendleton make the stop after a 4-yard gain.
I think it's going to be interesting to watch who gets off to a better start. Both teams coming off poor performances last week. What you want to do is you want to come out and execute well early so you can kind of put that week behind you, get your confidence back. So it'll be interesting to see who gets off on the right foot.
Christian Ponder putting a lot of the blame on his shoulders last week, which really is sort of what he does. The coaches say it kind of carries the burden. There's a deflected pass off the hands of Burt Reed. Reed 9 catches away from 100 in his career. Brings up a 3rd and 6. There are 10 returning starters for Florida State, but still, Danny, there's a lot of question marks, particularly in the receiving front.
I think depth is something they want to see. Burt Reed, the last reception there that he dropped, that was Christian Ponder's favorite target by far, but they need some other options for him to go with the football.
4 receiver set now on 3rd and 6. BYU shows blitz. They drop off, only a 3-man rush. Ponder, he can run. Runs very niftily for the first down into Brigham Young territory. Picked up 15, and when they played last year, that was one thing Bronco Mendenhall mentioned, was that he really was surprised by how athletic Ponder was.
He caught him off guard last year, and this year he just flat out made a great individual play. And this is one of the things that Christian Ponder does that makes him special, because you've got to respect his ability to throw the football downfield. We've got everybody retreating into zone coverage. It just opens a lot of running lanes for Christian Ponder, and he's able to take advantage of it.
Ponder averaging just under 4 yards per carry now. More importantly for Florida State, they get their first down of the afternoon. All the time in the world, and he finds his man. Burt Reed beats Brandon Bradley. Bradley, the defender, is from right here in Tallahassee, as a lot of folks watching him, and that time he gave up the play.
And this is just simply a case where, as a defender, you really have no chance when the ball is thrown that well. There truly is no defense for a perfectly thrown football. And right there, you see Christian Ponder putting it right on the money. Bradley was in perfect position. You saw number 5, but that's just a perfectly thrown ball.
22-yard gain, and you're right, boy, Bradley was blanketing him, but Ponder put it right where it needed to be. So it's first down now from the 25 for the Noles. Ponder decided to keep it instead of pitching it, and Pendleton came up to make his 3rd stop of the game. Only picked up about 1 yard. The offensive line, and Henry Orlis is starting for Andrew Datko, but they're big guys up there, and with the exception of Orlis, a lot of experience.
The thing that sticks out to me, look at the starts across the board: 37, 42, 24. That is a lot of experience up front. That's a real luxury to have as an offense as a whole.
Orly starting for Andrew Datko, the left tackle, out with a shoulder issue today. A couple of tight ends in now for Florida State on 2nd and 9. Little play action. Ponder gets it out. Nice one-handed grab by Reed. Stuck his hand up there and brought it in, but he lost the football. BYU comes up with it.
And a turnover early stops the Seminoles' drive. Burt Reed coming across on a slide route, gets lost a little bit by the defense. He's got a big guy out in front. You've got to secure the football towards the end of that run. This BYU defense, very opportunistic, trying to strip the football.
Shane Hunter, senior from Idaho Falls, Idaho, came up with the fumble recovery, but boy, he made a one-handed catch, but the problem was he kept it in that one hand.
Spectacular grab, and I really think the officials want to look and see if his left foot hit the out-of-bounds line, and I don't think it did. You saw the circus catch there, which coaches don't have a problem with if you hang on to it, but when you fumble at the end of the run, he'll get his share in the film room. That's right there, I think, is where they want to look at, and I don't think he was out of bounds. I think this is going to be a turnover.
And remember, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field, which was a fumble and a BYU recovery. The ball hit the helmet of Rodney Hudson, the very talented left guard who's been touted for the NFL. But the play is under review upstairs. And a big call early for both teams. Florida State on a nice drive.
And here's what they're going to look at. Burt Reed coming over towards the sideline. They'll freeze it right there. That's what they'll be watching to see if his foot hit the out-of-bounds mark, and I do not think it did. I think there is space.
And the ruling on the field has been confirmed. And there you see the way on that replay, it was Hudson's helmet that kind of came in and jarred the ball loose. And Reed did stay in bounds, so that's a big turnover. BYU gets it on the 12. Riley Nelson continues to be the quarterback for BYU. Check that, it's Heaps. Jake Heaps has now come in for the first time. Throws it on his first play to Cody Hoffman, threw it low, but it was caught. And Heaps is a guy from Issaquah, Washington, and he really, I mean, a lot of fans are really, can't wait for him to start. Flag is down. DeLuigi is corralled.
And that was a case there where you saw BYU running the no huddle, and once again Florida State's defense caught a little bit off guard. I believe they were lined up in the neutral zone or jumped there early. They were not ready for that quick snaps when Jake Heaps came up to the line of scrimmage.
Oklahoma used that no huddle to great effect last week in the 47-17 pacing of Florida State in Norman. 2nd and 1. Heaps hands it off. And the first down is gained by J.G. DeLuigi, who leads the Mountain West Conference in all-purpose yards so far in this young season. He picked up 4. So here's a 2-quarterback system. You've already seen both of them, Heaps and Nelson, for the first game and a half, alternating series. And I thought it was interesting that head coach Bronco Mendenhall said he doesn't like to do that. He would rather just have one guy.
He's not a fan of it. I don't think anybody's a fan of it. I wasn't as a former player. It's just tough to find your groove.
Heaps throws it low. Xavier Rhodes on the coverage. Mendenhall letting his offensive coordinator, Robert Anai, and also Brandon Doman, the former BYU quarterback who is now the quarterback's coach, and he has deferred to them. And what they are looking for is a clear-cut #1 guy, and they haven't found him yet.
But I love how Bronco said he was quietly forming an opinion. He hasn't yet come up with that final decision, but he will.
That pass will result in a 1-yard loss. Luke Ashworth, the wide receiver, taken down by Mr. Alexander, first name M-I-S-T-E-R. Mr. Alexander did a good job.
And it's really interesting to watch this BYU offense early. It's almost like they took Oklahoma's game plan and just installed it in their offense. A lot of quick passing game. They're running the no huddle, trying to do the same things that Oklahoma exposed against Florida State last week.
Oklahoma threw 19 screens in that game. Here's a 3rd and 11 for BYU. Heaps goes down and loses the football. BYU hangs on to it. Marcus White put the big hit on the quarterback, but Braden Brown recovered it for BYU.
And a great job by Florida State's defense getting after the quarterback. You see the struggles at the right tackle Braden Brown had covering the corner. At least he did get on the football. Jake Heaps looking down the field, trying to find a receiver, and that's the 2nd sack we've seen with a BYU quarterback looking downfield but having nobody to throw to.
2 sacks in 2 series given up by BYU after giving up 0 sacks in 2 games against Washington and Air Force. Greg Reed back to get the punt of Riley Stevenson. And Reed down at the 30. A 51-yard punt, so Stevenson has kicked both of them over 50 yards. The fans don't think that Reed was down, or they say he called the fair catch. FSU has the ball at the 30 when we come back.
If you're looking at a home security system, or even if you already have one, ADT can give you so much more, like our new keychain remote. Now you can easily arm and disarm your system with the touch of a button, even turn on your lights. You can also count on fast alarm response from our advanced network of monitoring centers, plus great local service, ADT's exclusive theft protection guarantee, and a money-back guarantee if you're not completely satisfied. And you can get all this and more for as little as $1 a day. A single ADT system can help protect your home from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide. When an alarm is received, ADT can respond quickly, calling the local authorities for help. You can even add new technology like Safe Watch Video View. Now you can know what's happening in your home by actually seeing it on your cell phone, computer, or TV. Even if you already have a security system, it's easy to add ADT monitoring. Call now and save over $250 when you buy ADT's family package.
It's peace of mind that can also save your life.
ADT, always there.
My name is Jennifer. I joined Match 3 months ago. I thought, why not? You never know. You may meet that one great person.
Nice to meet you.
The world has changed. 1 in 5 relationships now begin on an online dating site.
Do you like 80s high school movies?
Yeah, it's like my favorite.
And when it comes to meeting someone great online, there's only one place to go, Match.com. We've led to more dates, more relationships, and more marriages than any other site. Begin something new today.
I'm hoping I can see him again, maybe tomorrow.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week, brought to you by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Are you in good hands? Well, welcome back to Florida State, where we are still scoreless between the Seminoles and the Cougars, and Greg Reed was called for making a fair catch signal. It's pretty weak.
Yeah, this was a poor call by the officials. He was just doing his job. He's up there. It's a poor punt. He's informing his blockers in front of him, stay away from the football. It was a poor punt. They do not want to get hit with a football because you could have a turnover. Instead, he goes back and fields the punt. The official was fooled by that, but Greg Reed just did a great job of communicating with his teammates.
And especially when they want that fair catch signal to be very
clear,
clear, expressive, conspicuous. Christian Ponder 3 for 4, make it 4 for 5 right at midfield. He's 4 for 5 on the game. Bert Reed making the catch and holding on even after he got smacked by Stephen Thomas.
An outstanding throw and catch by Christian Ponder and Bert Reed. The little play action sucks up the linebackers just enough where you find that window down the middle of the field, and Bert Reed does an outstanding job of hanging on to the football.
20-yard gain. Look at Reed. He pops right back up. He has 3 catches for 54 yards now in the game. Right at midfield, first down. That carry by Thomas picks up about 4 yards. Andrew Rich made the stop. Rich, a terrific player for BYU, originally walked on, had been given some scholarship offers, Boise State among those who wanted him, but here's a kid from Ogden, Utah, who wanted to be a Cougar.
He's a pretty interesting story. Came in as a walk-on, went to Snow College, played a year there, and came in with a 3-piece suit on to Bronco Mendenhall and pleaded his case, and sure enough, Bronco was really impressed with this young man, and he's been just as impressive on the football field.
Career-high 14 tackles last week. Right now tied for 14th in the nation, 11.5 tackles per game. Ty Jones now the running back. Ponder doesn't need a running back. He's his own running back. Picks up the first down inside the 40. Gordon Pendleton's been busy. He has 4 stops already.
This is something so unique to Florida State's offense because a lot of teams are running a wildcat offense, but they can really do it with their quarterback, Christian Ponder. That was just a called run, play to the left, and then he has the running back as his lead blocker. So it's just an outstanding tool to have in your backfield at the quarterback position, a weapon like that can run.
25 yards rushing already for Ponder, leading his team in that category. Picked up 9 on that last one. So it's first down from the 37.
He had a big running day last year against this BYU team.
Ty Jones is the 3rd tailback that Florida State has used today. And he has a hole and spurts right through it, right up to middle for another Florida State first down. Jones ran for over 100 yards last year against BYU and gets 13 on this run.
And Ty Jones just finding a little spot off guard and tackle right there. The lane opens up, and he finds it. He's going to find that hole and take the most of it. You get him on the second level face-to-face with a safety. One of these days, it could break for a touchdown.
There's an injured Cougar on the field. It's free safety Stephen Thomas, who lost his helmet as Jones went by him. We'll take a break and come back to Tallahassee.
Your source for the best gridiron coverage is College Football Live. Our team is on the pulse of the game, bringing you analysis.
If they lose this game, they're definitely out of the national championship talk.
Breaking news, highlights, and big game predictions.
I'm going big red, baby.
Plus, we go deep for exclusive interviews.
The secret is out, my friend.
And unique features that will keep you wanting more.
Let's go, guys. Come on.
College Football Live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
Odds are, if you're shopping for a new Ford truck, you're not looking for who makes the best cappuccino in town.
Or the dealer with the trendiest showroom decorations.
You're looking for a durable truck.
They're out looking for durable, high-priced carpet.
And King's has been selling durability for 34 years.
Which includes the best-selling truck, the Ford F-150.
Right now, during our truck event, you can get up to $10,000 in savings on the Ford F-150 Crew Cab.
Nothing like a pumpkin spice latte.
King's Colonial Ford, where the lowest overhead means the lowest price.
You want a new car. You need a new car. Your dog needs a new car. But you'll have to choose one car out of thousands. So what do you really need? You need VHIX.com. Find a great car fast and get on with your life. VHIX.com. Find your ride.
Welcome back, Stephen Thomas. Terrific sign, the junior from California, able to get up and walk off the field. Let's take a look at what happened to him before the break.
That's a good sign. We talked about him being an open field tackle. You see his helmet go down straight to the quad of Ty Jones, and that can be such a dangerous hit when you hit a player's leg with your helmet. You see him unconscious almost immediately, but it's a good thing to see him up and moving around, taking off the football field.
Ty Jones, he packs some power, 5'10", 211 pounds, and as you saw in that replay, he hit Thomas square on with his thigh. Still scoreless here. Florida State had a good drive the last time down the field, but lost a fumble that BYU picked up at the 12, and now here's another nice drive underway. They've already gone 46 yards. They went 54 yards in their last drive before the fumble. Another carry right up the middle. This time it's Lonnie Pryor, the fullback. Picks up 5.
And Florida State has really been able to move the ball fairly effortlessly so far to this point. They just have not been able to push it in.
Look at the total yards by a little bit one-sided, 110 to 5, but still 0-0 on the scoreboard.
You know, it's very similar to last year's game out in Provo when Florida State had so much success. This is the only thing last year they were able to punch it in.
Jimbo Fisher, who was the offensive coordinator under Bobby Bowden for the last 3 years before he took over. This is his first season in charge, the 9th head coach in the history of this program. And Bowden, last time he wasn't the head coach was 1975. First down run for Ty Jones. Let's check in with Dari Noka in the studio for SportsCenter U in-game update.
All right, Pam, Danny, Virginia Tech trying to avoid an 0-3 start. Boise State would love them to avoid that as well. They're up 28-27. Handoff to David Wilson, 8 yards, touchdown. They're early in the fourth. Hokies lead ECU by 8. We'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Dari. It was 10-0 East Carolina at one point in that game, playing in Blacksburg. Florida State with 6 first downs, BYU just the 1, but we are still scoreless. Jones again. And this time he doesn't get much over the left side. Picks up a yard or 2.
We talked to Jimbo Fisher about the running back situation, said Jermaine Thomas is the clear-cut #1, but it's really a running back by committee situation where he likes to give the guy who has the hot hand, you feed him the rock late in the football game. So he's in the process right now of figuring out which guy is the hot one.
Also likes to rotate the backs because he said in this day and age, these guys just get beaten up. Take a lot of hits, so it's hard to have just one running back. 2nd and 8, Ponder gets into trouble, gets out of it, and goes down short of the first down. Taken down around the 8 by Austin Jorgensen, who is a linebacker.
And BYU now doing a great job of getting after the quarterback. We've seen Florida State have some success. Christian Ponder might have been able to look down the field a little bit longer, but he's such a weapon running the football. He's able to get back for some positive yardage and keep them in a manageable third down situation.
Yep, in fact, he picked up 3 yards, so it's 3rd and 5 as we are inside 1 minute to go in the first quarter. They have to get down to the 3 to keep this drive alive. Jones in the backfield with Ponder. Jones goes out into a pass pattern. Ponder into the back of the end zone, but it's too tall for his intended receiver, Rodney Smith, and that's got to be pretty tall because Rodney's 6'6".
That's what I was thinking, but this is what you tell your quarterback to do no matter what level you play. If you're going to take a shot at the end zone, miss high because it's just going to go out the back of the end zone. And Christian Ponder really surveying the field and pretty much just making his mind up to put it out of the back of the end zone and take the field goal.
Good coverage. Ethan Manu-Maleuna with good pressure on the quarterback that induced him to throw it away. Here's a 26-yard field goal attempt by Dustin Hopkins. Florida State on the board. Sophomore from Houston with the field goal. Florida State finally breaks through. They've held on to the football for a long time in this game and have a 3-0 lead to show for it as we head back to Darinoka.
Well, guys, Chris Doring in studio with me. Mark Ingram's back, I would say. 48 yards on his first carry of the season, Chris.
I didn't expect him to use him that much today, but clearly that was a little different plan. He's already over 100 yards, and we're not even barely through halfway in the first quarter.
4 carries, 102, and a touchdown. Heisman Trophy winner, Jack.
4 carries for 102 yards, Danny Cannell. That's a good average, right, buddy?
I'd say he's back to full speed. I think he's healthy. I think that's a safe thing to say right at this point.
It's at about a 25.5 yard per carry average. Log on to Facebook.com/ESPNU today. Become a fan and let us know your opinions. Oh, we have a question. It's a big weekend in college football for the ACC and Big East. We want to know which conference will win more games this weekend, the ACC or the Big East. Not a good weekend for the ACC last week, my friend.
No, it was a disaster, but it got off to a better start this weekend. Thursday night, NC State had the big win versus Cincinnati, but you look at teams like Virginia Tech, who's trying to dodge a huge bullet and disastrous start. They're struggling all day long.
East Carolina giving Virginia Tech all they can handle. NC State with that win against Cincinnati, the first time this year an ACC team has beaten a team from another BCS conference. Hopkins kicks it 5 yards deep. O'Neal Chambers up the right side and stumbles to the 24-yard line on the return. And we await to see which quarterback will come out for BYU. And they're going back to Riley Nelson. Now, the 2-quarterback system, I would think, would be untenable anyway, but alternating every series?
Yeah, it would just seem to me like it would be very hard to get into a groove, into some type of feel of the football game. I mean, when I was coming out of college, that was one of the reasons I did not go to University of Florida, because Steve Spurrier was not afraid to do it. I wanted to go somewhere where I was going to be entrenched on the field.
And Spurrier has a habit of doing that. Just,
yeah.
And for reasons sometimes that only he knows. That pass is thrown and completed. Now they're saying an interception. McKay Jacobson, the intended receiver, and yet Florida State came up with the football.
Well, McKay Jacobson was struggling with the football. And we'll get a look at it. A low thrown ball. He's trying to kicks off his foot. And Kendall Smith looks like he's the guy that coming over to make the tackle just rolled on top of the football. McKay Jacobson actually kicked it with his foot up to Kendall Smith for the gift.
That's going to be reversed.
There's the football right on the ground. Kendall Smith does his best Jarek Jeter, though, trying to...
Yeah, how about that?
Pulling off the acting job, acting like he did have the interception.
But unlike Major League Baseball, we have instant replay
That's
review.
right. We will get it right.
So that will be overturned. The ball going off the foot of Jacobson. And then Smith, who's a terrific athlete, the senior out of Bushnell, Florida, has the ball bounce underneath him.
Pretty clear cut right there for the officials to get this call right. I mean, that's the thing. You saw the throw there was a little bit poorly thrown. And you've got Riley Nelson, who has been sitting on the sideline for the past series. It's got to be tough. I mean, I always wanted a situation where I could get a couple throws, get a couple completions under my belt. It's just got to be such a challenge to have to leave the field and come back on and try to get into the game.
According to Robert and I, the offensive coordinator, he said they have 2 starters, and they will play it by ear. The ebb and flow of the game is what they say. But still a very difficult situation. And remember, the other guy, Jake Heaps, is a true freshman.
It's almost to the point where if I was a coach, I'd want to let the guy go for a quarter maybe. Let him play the first quarter, see how he's doing. If he's not generating anything, then give it to your 1B guy and let him go in the second quarter, and then make a decision at halftime. See whichever guy did better, let him play the second half.
For further review, the ruling is that the ball hit the ground incomplete. It'll be second down and 10 at the 24-yard line, BYU's ball.
Call was absolutely correct. The fans not happy about it, but when they go home and watch it themselves, they have to agree. BYU quarterbacks today, 3 of 6 for 4 yards with the 2 quarterbacks. That's not exactly lighting it up.
No, and they really have not tried to move the football down the field at all. Almost every throw has been within 5 yards.
Second and 10 with 25 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Luigi in the backfield with Nelson, who has 4 wide receivers. Pitch back to Luigi, trying to get around the corner, but he can't. Florida State's Greg Reed is fast, and he and Terrence Parks got DeLuigi after a 1-yard gain.
And Greg Reed caught some heat last week for his tackling skills, but here he must have had a week of practice where they had him on the field working on his form tackling. Right back there, back to the fundamentals of sound football.
That is the end of the first quarter. When we come back, it will be 3rd and 9 at the 25 for BYU. Florida State with 121 yards of offense. BYU only has 6, but it's only 3-0 Florida State.
Break down college football's top 25 with the experts. Tuesday at 1 on ESPNU.
Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, Texas, Texas Tech, and Notre Dame, Michigan State. Tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC or ESPN2. College football lives here.
Get the best gridiron coverage on college football live. Our team is on the pulse of the game, bringing you analysis, highlights, big game predictions.
I'm going Big Red.
And unique features that will keep you wanting more.
Let's go, guys.
College football live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
Are things different now that I'm not crushing quarterbacks every Sunday? Yeah, a little bit. But I still have a taste for greatness. So I love Dr. Pepper. The taste of these 23 flavors can never be equaled. Like me.
Pizza perfect nab. I got it.
Donovan.
Mike? What, man? Come on, Mike, man.
Still got it. There's nothing like a pepper. Trust me. I've sent people to the doctor.
Get what you crave. Doritos Late Night Cheeseburger.
It's another perfect day out here today.
Can I get you anything else?
We gotta get back to work.
Whoa, I spoke too soon. This just in. A freak storm is blowing into the area. We're going to be experiencing hurricane-force winds and dense fog, followed by sheets of driving rain. Stay inside, hunker down, grab a beer. This is going to be a long one.
Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here.
We're receiving reports of hail the size of... Oh, boy.
It's time to take matters into your own hands.
AutoZone's got the advice and expertise you need to take on any job, because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Florida State leading BYU. Pam Ward along with Danny Cannell. Here's our first play of the second quarter. BYU has it 3rd and 9 at the 25, and their offense has gotten absolutely nothing going today. Just 6 total yards. And now they have to hear it from the crowd. Florida State's offsides, and they blow it dead. Brandon Jenkins jumped way early.
Dead ball, offside, defense, number 49, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
This is one of those things where defensive coordinator Mark Stoops talked about his team being very immature on the defensive side of the ball. Brandon Jenkins trying to get to the quarterback, but you just have to hold your water. You cannot jump off sides in a 3rd and 9 situation.
And I don't agree with that unabated to the quarterback, because Braden Brown picked him up right away. I think BYU would have liked a free play. Here's a 3rd and 4. And the quarterback puts his head down and gets the first down for BYU. First quarter stats. Boy, Florida State.
It's been pretty dominant so far for the Seminoles, but Riley Nelson, they're able to keep a drive going for BYU, pulling it down and doing it on his own. That is his strength. He's not a pure passer. He's a guy that can run around, do play action, and work the option.
Back ran for 95 yards last week. Leading rusher for his team. Brian Correa's turn to carry the ball for BYU. Picked up 4. Florida State losing to Oklahoma last week, 47-17. How about Oklahoma with 34 points and 372 yards at the half?
And 321 passing yards. It was a pretty ugly performance for this Florida State team. And Jimbo Fisher really in week 3 is facing one of his biggest tests of his young coaching career.
This BYU offense lost so many weapons from last year. Nelson flings it over the middle, incomplete, good coverage. Xavier Rhodes among them. Let's go back to the studio. Here's Dari Noka.
All right, continuing to update Mark Ingram, guys. How about 5 carries, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns? Last season, he had 2 carries of at least 45 yards on the season. He has 2 of those in the first quarter today.
Yes, Dari, but his average per carry is going down. Of course, he scored a touchdown that time. He couldn't go any farther.
That's right.
Wow, what a terrific ball player. Obviously the Heisman Trophy winner. 3rd and 6. That pass tipped and picked off. Intercepted by Xavier Rhodes after Michael Harris tipped it. And the Seminole defense continues to play hard.
And this has been a thing we've seen all day. BYU quarterbacks looking downfield, nowhere to go with the football, and that is a great job breaking on the football by Michael Harris, tipping it up, giving his teammate Xavier Rhodes a chance to come over and get the interception. Outstanding job of just getting to the football.
Michael Harris from Miami with the tip. Young man who's had a very emotional couple of weeks. His mom passed away a couple of weeks ago, and they had the funeral just last Tuesday in Miami. But he is the one, give him credit for forcing that interception. Ponder runs into his own man. Ran right into big old number 77, Zabri Sanders.
Well, they teach you as a quarterback to keep your eyes down the field. But you better watch out and make sure where your big right tackle is. Christian Ponder moving to his right. He is surveying the field. Zabri Sanders just runs right into him.
And Zabri at 6'6", 307, like literally running into a wall. There's the big guy out of Dayton. Again, Andrew Datko not playing today, but the other 4 starters on this offensive line have been playing together, starting together for at least 3 years.
Usually when you talk about feeling the pressure, it's the other team, not your own team.
Brings up a 2nd and 14. That one is thrown out into the flat and taken by Burt Reed, who picks up only a couple of yards. Pendleton credit him with yet another tackle. So Christian Ponder is a guy who before the season, and certainly the folks here at Florida State have him up on their website as a Heisman hopeful. Mark Ingram had just a terrific season last year and is back today after missing the first 2 games.
And what an outstanding start he's off to, making his run at a second Heisman Trophy. Never been done before, and imagine if he did it without playing in the first 2 games. That would be unprecedented.
3rd and 12 for Ponder. As time, that was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Vic So'oto, senior from Carlsbad, who was a converted tight end, got his hands on it.
Vic So'oto, one of their big guys, down lineman, doing a great job getting his hands up. That is so frustrating as a quarterback when you're thinking you have great protection and you try to put the ball down the field and it gets batted down by one of those big mitts. And you mentioned it, Vic So'oto has been around the block a little bit. Played both sides of the football, redshirted, played a little linebacker, and now finally at defensive line.
As a 6th-year senior, showed that athleticism. You could see why he was a tight end, the way he got up. Powell's punt skips out of bounds. It's Florida State's second 3 and out. BYU has the ball around the 17 when we come back. Florida State up 3-0.
You look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise.
We put it through over 5,000 quality tests, so it'll stand up to just about anything. The Nissan Altima. Innovation that lasts. Innovation for all.
This is Ben Landis, filling his car with quality Conoco gas for the first time. This will help lower his car's emissions and remind it how much it likes being Ben's car, so it will quit trying to ruin his love life. Good job, handsome. Help maximize your car's mileage, lower its emissions, and increase its performance with Conoco, because your car knows.
Style points don't show up in the box score. Talking a good game has never won a championship. And we're sorry to break it to you. It's not the shoes. It's the work, the pride, the blood, and the tears. Because Russell's wicking sweat out of the equation. Russell Dry Power Moisture Wicking Tees and Fleece. The next evolution in over 100 years of raw performance.
Gear up at Cabela's. Get what's new for the season at tough-to-beat prices. Shop your way online at Cabela's.com, by catalog, or in-store. Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter.
Welcome back to Florida State. Dustin Hopkins with the field goal gives Florida State the 3-0 lead. ESPNU's Campus Connection brings you campus life through the eyes and voices of the students. Quarterback Christian Ponder is also a serious student. Having already earned a BA and an MBA, Florida State senior Megan Chestnut looks at what he's working on now.
Christian Ponder completed his MBA this past spring and now is pursuing a second graduate degree in sports management.
I think I've always been disciplined in my studies and found time for academics.
Ponder epitomizes the term student athlete, so when he gets a break from the field, you're likely to spot him here, looking to leave his legacy with the garnet and gold. For ESPNU Campus Connection, I'm Megan Chestnut.
Ready to play football, Christian Ponder, a captain, a terrific role model for Florida State, and now it's Jake Heaps. 1st and 10 from the 17 for BYU. Heaps, the freshman, back at quarterback, hands it off to DeLuigi, who picks up 8 yards. And BYU continues to alternate quarterbacks on series.
And Jake Heaps, a touted, highly touted high school football player. Coming in there, Coach Mendenhall said he saw a throw that he made in the spring and said, whoa, who is this kid?
Correa gets met right at the line of scrimmage. There are flags down on the play. Correa, a terrific student athlete for BYU, majoring in Chinese. So that's a heck of a major there.
Good luck with that.
He doesn't need it. He's doing really well.
That's right.
Scholar athlete in the Mountain West Conference.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 men in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
BYU have 31 players who are married. That is most in the Bowl subdivision. 5 of them are fathers on BYU. And about 3/4 of them have taken 2-year missions. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the LDS Church at BYU. 2nd and 7. And a big play by the defense. Marcus White comes up with the 2nd turnover of the game from BYU.
And this is something the young quarterback's going to have to learn. When you're looking downfield, you have to secure the football. That is something this defensive line of Florida State is going to do every time they're around you, is try to strip the ball. Marcus White, very opportunistic, getting back on it. And this is probably one of the most significant pass rushes we've seen out of a Florida State defense in quite some time.
Marcus White has a sack and now a fumble recovery on his resume for this game. And Florida State, terrific field position at the 20. Bouncing right up the middle is Ty Jones, junior from Tampa. Known for being inconsistent last year, but the coach has said that he came in with a different attitude this fall. Of course, Jimbo Fisher came in as the head coach, and Jimbo has instituted quite a few changes.
And you know Jimbo had his mental list working when he was here the past 3 years at Florida State under Coach Bowden, and as soon as he was named the head coach, started implementing those changes almost immediately.
2nd and 4 now for the Seminoles. Jones still in the backfield. Ponder takes off on the design run. There's a flag down. Again, an illegal block.
Personal foul, chop block, number 33, high-low combination block, 15-yard penalty, replay, second down.
They called the chop block here. You can get a look at it. Florida State running their almost wildcat play with Christian Ponder in the backfield. If you freeze it right here, these 2 linemen right here are locked up high, and you'll see the back go low, and that is against the rules in college football. That is a dangerous way. That's a way to get somebody hurt, and they're just trying to do their best to protect these athletes on the football field. Ty Jones was the guy who went low, and it's a tricky situation because a lot of times you're coached to cut guys, but you just have to be aware of where your offensive linemen are, and you cannot do it when they're engaged with a defensive lineman.
So the penalty brings it back. Ponder has the ball tipped over the middle, and then the helmet flies off of Burt Reed's head. It was tipped by Shane Hunter, the middle linebacker. Reed complaining about the contact he got up around the helmet.
Of course he is. He better be. He's a wide receiver. Here's Christian Ponder. Same play they ran earlier in the game. And a great job by Shane Hunter getting his hands up. That's the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen a ball batted down by Florida State. And when the ball is batted in the air, you can make contact, but I don't know if it's okay to rip his helmet off.
Travis Uale got a hold of the face mask and took the helmet off, but the officials did not see it. Ponder with all the time in the world, but there's good coverage, throws it late. Caught along the sideline, ruled incomplete. Willie Halstead tried to get a toe down, but the officials say he did not.
Well, Brandon Bradley, the Tallahassee native, is having an outstanding day. Earlier, we saw Burt Reed get the best of him on him when he was in blanketed coverage. Here again, Christian Ponder scrambling to his left. Bradley's right there, and Halstead just could not keep his 1 foot in bounds.
So here comes Hopkins. He's already hit from 26. Here's a 47-yard attempt. His career long was a 52-yarder against Miami last year. And that one is good as gold. Hopkins connects for his second field goal of the game. Florida State leads it now 6-0. BYU getting outgained big time, but still only down by 6 points.
"12 summers of boat hauling, 6 minutes to soccer practice, 63 miles of commuting daily. For any extreme, from the road to the racetrack, step up to Mobil 1, the official motor oil of NASCAR and the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. So put some NASCAR in your car and step up to the one, Mobil 1.
I got those Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets. Are they too spicy for you? Well, what is it?
They're only 99 cents.
Try Wendy's 99-cent spicy chicken nuggets.
All white meat seasoned with peppers and savory spices.
Yeah, but the real kick, you get 5 pieces for only 99 cents.
Only at Wendy's.
You know when it's real.
Treat yourself to a cool, creamy Frosty today. Also just 99 cents.
Yep.
You look like an angel. Walk like an angel. Talk like an angel. But I got wise. You're the devil in disguise.
We put it through over 5,000 quality tests, so it'll stand up to just about anything. The Nissan Altima. Innovation that lasts. Innovation for all.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week. Brought to you by Mobil 1 Extended Performance Synthetic Motor Oil. It's proven to protect your engine for 15,000 miles between oil changes, guaranteed. Well, welcome back to Florida State. Dustin Hopkins has just kicked a 47-yard field goal. It's 6-0 Florida State. But during the break, Jimbo Fisher was very animated on the sidelines, upset about this non-call as the helmet was ripped off the head of Burt Reed, and this was Jimbo's reaction.
Well, he was hot, as he should have been. I think the official got kind of sidetracked because he saw the tipped ball, so he just kind of shut it off, said, all right, I'm not going to call pass interference, but at the same time, you have to keep an eye on what's going on the field. And when you see a player's helmet get like that, Jimbo's pleading the case, letting him have an earful, as he should have.
And that got the crowd all excited, made more noise about watching Jimbo than they did when they saw Hopkins hit that 47-yard field goal. Hopkins here to kick it off. Chambers and Hoffman waiting for it. Had 3 turnovers in this game. Another long kickoff by Hopkins. Florida State leading at 6-0. And BYU continues juggling quarterbacks.
Pam, the thing that's interesting about the way this game is unfolded is Florida State has pretty much dominated this football game, and yet they're only up 6-0. You're 1 play away from being down a point. And if BYU springs one here for a touchdown, Florida State will be losing. They've got to figure out how to way to get the ball in the end zone.
BYU with 27 yards of offense. Florida State with 125, almost plus 100.
BYU sticking with Heaps here, giving him a chance to get his feet wet.
2 straight series now for Heaps after they've been flip-flopping him with Nelson. And that one is thrown over the middle and completed to O'Neal Chambers. Picks up 15 yards.
And I really feel like this is a sign that Heaps is comfortable now. He's coming back on the field. Although the last series wasn't a huge successful drive, it's just a comfort factor. You're confident. You're taking the field again. You're in the huddle again, making play calls.
Heaps, the true freshman, with DeLuigi as his tailback. Mendenhall, the fullback. DeLuigi met right at the line of scrimmage and taken down by Nigel Bradham for no gain. Let's go back, another update with Dari Noka.
Well, let's talk about Florida here. Slow start in Knoxville. A couple more bad snaps between Mike Pouncey and John Brantley, but the Gators get on the board. Mike Gillislee with a short touchdown run. Florida up 7-3. About 11 to go in the first half.
Thank you very much.
Chris Doring must be doing the gator chomp in the studio.
All-time leading receiver in SEC history. That pass is thrown a little bit high. McKay Jacobson nicely covered by Greg Reed, the sophomore from Valdosta, Georgia, who has a ton of confidence. Great return man, and now the starting cornerback. Last time BYU came east, they lost to Boston College in double overtime about 4 years ago. They play in the Mountain Time Zone out in Utah. 3rd and 10 at the 35 now for BYU. 4 receivers in. Heaps throws it underneath, completes it, but a terrific tackle takes Brian Correa down about 5 yards short of the first down. Nigel Bradham with a good job of wrapping him up.
And Florida State's pass defense has been pretty solid all day. BYU has been looking down the field. Most of their throws have been underneath, and right there, Jay Keeps nowhere to go down the field, has to find his check down, and it's not enough for the first down.
Greg Reed last year back to receive the punt of Riley Stevenson, led the nation in punt returning last year at 18.5 per return. Stevenson has had 2 punts, both of them over 50 yards today. Kicks that one away from Reed, who has to get it right on the sideline. BYU just had its longest drive of the day. It was 20 yards. They still have not scored, down 6-0.
College Football Live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
You look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise.
We put it through over 5,000 quality tests, so it'll stand up to just about anything. The Nissan Altima. Innovation that lasts. Innovation for all.
Tired of... Check this out. This is the front brake pad you get at car dealers and the big auto repair chains. 2 wheels, installed, it's going to be $150, maybe $200 bucks. This is the front and rear brake pad you get at Brakes for Less. $99 installed with a parts and labor guarantee. Seems like a better deal to me. Brakes for Less. It's going to save you time and money. We guarantee it.
Brakes for Less, home of the $99 4-wheel brake job. Visit Brakes for Less. 8 locations locally. Call 733-S.
Money's tight. You switch brands of shaving cream, toilet paper, eating a few more burgers, a few less steaks.
But sacrificing quality for cost savings on your new truck?
That's something you don't have to do at King's.
You get quality and savings.
Like the 2010 Ford Ranger, awarded best-in-class fuel economy.
And during our truck event, you can get a new 2010 Ford Ranger Super Cab
for only $279 a month.
Why does saving have to be so painful?
King's Colonial Ford, where the lowest overhead means the lowest price.
You're watching ESPN, new home of the Bowl Championship Series.
Join host Lo Galindo with David Pollack and Charles Arbuckle for BCS Countdown for in-depth analysis of this week's games and a look ahead to next week's action. BCS Countdown presented by Allstate Monday at 6 Eastern on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. For more information, you can log on to ESPNU.com. Seminole Nation hasn't had a whole lot to cheer about, just a couple of field goals to show for their domination on the offensive side of the ball. Pam Ward joined by Danny Cannell, the former Florida State great quarterback, and had a hand literally in the national championship, holding on that game-winning kick.
Hey, you can't do it without a good hold, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Seminoles with this 6-0 lead. Christian Ponder, the terrific senior captain at quarterback, gives it up to Chris Thompson, and Thompson finds himself a whole lot of running room. Thompson down the sideline, and nobody's going to catch him. 83-yard touchdown.
And just a great job of blocking up front. Lonnie Pryor out front. Watch the chop block right there. Outstanding job getting him down. And when you've got speed in the backfield, all he needs is a little crack to take it to the house. This is desperate. This is what Florida State needed. They needed to put 7 points on the board just for a confidence booster, if anything.
Terrific block by the fullback, Lonnie Pryor, who got just enough of Jordan Pendleton. Thompson did the rest. So finally, a touchdown for Florida State, a huge 83-yard touchdown run for Thompson. A big play for Florida State opens the game up a little bit now. 13-0 Seminoles.
You look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise.
We put it through over 5,000 quality tests, so it'll stand up to just about anything. The Nissan Altima. Innovation that lasts. Innovation for all.
Down by 7. Final play for Detroit.
Only thing that would make this any better is overtime.
They'll need a miracle to win this football game. Harris slot right, drops back. Hines takes the pass at the 30. With the seam! Wow! Can you believe it? One man to beat! We're headed to overtime!
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
Field goal for the win!
ESPNU is home for the passionate college football fan as our experts break down the top 25 in a weekly 3-hour special.
Alabama looked fantastic this week. Where are they now, and where are they going to be? That's the key.
Go inside the game as our football gurus explain the ins and outs.
Don't try to be extraordinary. You go back to the one thing that you do well.
They're going to have to diagnose the run. They're going to have to go against a big offensive line.
4 of the starters could easily end up as first-team All-Americans.
The Experts, Tuesday at 1 on ESPNU.
Celebrating its 6th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $2.1 million in scholarship money. And we've had a couple of field goals and 1 extra point right now for Florida State. And this young man, number 23, Chris Thompson, got a handoff and busted it out for an 83-yard touchdown.
I'd say it's safe to say he has the hot hand, or the hot feet, I guess you should say. A lot of speed in that backfield.
Pound for pound, the strongest and most dependable player, according to his head coach, or most dependable running back, I should say, according to Jimbo Fisher.
And very interesting, he talked about having depth at that position, how important it is, no matter where you play, what level, to have that depth in case somebody goes down or to give a guy a break.
And we have seen him use 3 different tailbacks today. Hopkins about to kick it off. BYU down 13-0. And that one goes out of bounds. Not a good kickoff for the usually dependable Hopkins. Let's get an update from Darinoka.
Kicking team.
All right, Pam, let's update a couple of games. Nebraska 8th ranked in all the land in Seattle to take on Washington. Taylor Martinez, 5 of 8 passing, 125 yards. But here's a handoff to Roy Halou Jr. Nebraska leading 21-13. An early interception for Jake Locker. Same with Matt Sims. Tennessee inside the 10, but he's picked off by Jonathan Bostic. Florida up 7-3.
Thank you very much, Dari. Back here, it is Florida State on top of BYU 13-0. Florida State trying to win in this series for the 2nd straight season. Jake Heaps for the 3rd straight series at quarterback for the Cougars. Hands it off to DeLuigi, and he finds some daylight. Going down into Florida State territory, picked up 21 big yards.
And I'm glad they're sticking with Heaps here, giving him a chance. But J.J. DeLuigi, he's a back that can make some big plays. Out 103 yards rushing last week against the Air Force Academy. But they have got to get their running game going to take some of the pressure off the quarterback.
That was his first career 100-yard game last week. 21 yards on that run already, the longest drive of the game for BYU. One play, 21 yards. Correa and Mendenhall now in the backfield. Correa gets it. Goes up the middle and is stopped after about a 2-yard gain.
Ryan Correa on the carry for BYU.
So BYU's drives, as you might surmise from being shut out, not exactly things of beauty.
No, and I think BYU is really still searching for an identity on the offensive side of the football, and it all starts with the quarterback position. If you can't make up your mind which guy is going to be the man, they're going to face that until they decide.
And the field position has been decidedly in favor of Florida State. Starting on the 40 this time for BYU, their own 40, by far their best starting field position. 2nd and 7 right now on the 36 of the Seminoles. DeLuigi gets away from one would-be tackler and then is bounced out of bounds. That's going to be called a late hit. Here comes the flag at the 30. Marcus Joyner, see him being talked to right now with the late hit.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, defense, number 20. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And Pam, we talked about it earlier. LaMarcus Joyner, a true freshman. Mark Stoops called a lot of his defensive players immature. That was just an immature penalty right there. You've got to learn when to hit a guy, when to lay off. Putting your team really against the 8 ball here, backing yourselves up, and giving BYU a chance to keep their drive going.
First down at the 15. That was Florida State's 4th penalty now. 40 yards total in penalties. Flag. Some movement on the interior line.
Dead ball. False start. Offense, number 20. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Joshua Casada called for the false start.
And Jacoby McDaniel wisely saw a little movement in the backfield. Took off, the offense moves back 5.
Up the middle, here's Correa. Gets that yardage back. Up 8 yards. You mentioned Mark Stoops, the first-year defensive coordinator, been the defensive coordinator the last 6 years for his brother over at Arizona. And when we met with him yesterday, he just talked about, he really thinks that this defense can be pretty good and much improved over what it was last year when, let's face it was bad.
It's been pretty brutal around here for a while in Tallahassee, and Mark Stoops comes in, and I think it's going to take some time for the players to get used to his system, and when they do, I think they'll be successful.
Here's a 2nd down. DeLuigi gets a couple of yards. DeLuigi coming off a career-high 103 yards last week in the loss to Air Force. Not finding a lot of running room today.
No, Florida State's defense is doing a pretty good job corralling the football, getting after the quarterback, containing the running game. J.J. DeLuigi does find some running room there, and that's probably the reason they're down here close to the end zone.
21 of his 44 yards today coming on that run that we just showed you. BYU 1 for 5 on 3rd down. Here's a 3rd and 6. Finally in scoring territory, and that's off the hands of Correa. Heaps could not connect.
And there you see a young
running back.
You see a young quarterback there. As a screen, when you're running a screen, you've got to let it develop, show a little patience. He does a good job looking it off, but let your back get out there. Let the offensive lineman get out in front of him. And just sometimes you've got to use a little touch on the football. Those backs aren't used to catching the football a lot. Give him a little soft throw that he can catch and take to the end zone.
Boy, and you saw in the replay how much room Correa still had. Still some breathing room. Mitch Payne in to attempt a 28-yard field goal, and BYU finally gets on the board. Good field position. Remember, they started at their own 40, and they were able to drive down, and now being called a 29-yard field goal for the senior from Ogden, who's been starting since he was a freshman. ESPN News coverage of college football continues tonight at 7 Eastern as number 15 LSU welcomes in Mississippi State. And then follow that at 10:30 Eastern, UNLV. Head coach Bobby Hauck's first year coming over from Montana takes on Idaho. College football primetime presented by 5 Hour Energy on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com.
And BYU there going with Jake Heaps for I believe the 3rd drive, and you just see the confidence factor not only in his throws but in the offense surrounding there. There's continuity. You're hearing the calls come from one guy. It's one voice. And I really feel like BYU has got to establish that. I know they want to protect the true freshman at quarterback and not throw him to the wolves, so to say, but I almost feel like it's better to let him have a little baptism by fire. Let him get hit. Let him make some mistakes, and then teach him in the film room. He's going to be your long-term answer at quarterback, but give him a chance to go out there and run the offense.
Replacing Max Hall, who is the #1 career leader in Mountain West Conference history in total yards, passing touchdowns, at all sorts of BYU records, which is, you college football fans know, is astonishing because they have had some terrific quarterbacks at BYU. Greg Reed back to get the kick at his 5. Very dangerous returner, but he is bottled up at the 20-yard line.
Greg Reed on the return.
4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. Both teams with their full complements of timeouts in the first half.
BYU is so strong, you know, just their coaching. They're so well disciplined out there, and you see it on the kickoff coverage. They've got a guy in Greg Reed who is special out there, and they are not going to let him go anywhere.
Reed so dangerous, one of the most dangerous returners in all of college football. See what Florida State can do with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. Ponder throwing back, completes it to Taiwan Easterling. He picks up about 7.
And talking about the well-coached players at BYU, watch the running lanes all the way down the field, evenly spaced out. A lot of times guys get bunched up on kickoff coverage and they get out of their lanes, but these guys stay to their assignments, and you can see the great job they do corralling Greg Reed. He's one of the most explosive kick returners in college football.
Led the nation in punt returning last year, also averaged about 26 yards in kick returns. But they had him in their sights. That's a good move by Burt Reed. Got a nice block on the edge. Picked up only a couple of yards, though. Brian Logan credited him with the tackle.
Well, those big blocks outside are nice, and they get their oohs and ahs from the crowd. You see number 84, Rodney Smith, getting a nice blow, but great job following up. BYU pursuing the football. Just a great form tackle by Brian Logan. He's probably one of the smallest guys in the field right now, but he plays big.
Brian Logan only 5'6", 1 foot shorter than Rodney Smith, the receiver. Ponder trying to do it with his legs, and he won't get there. Taken down just past the line of scrimmage.
Christian Ponder on the keeper. On the stop, number 1, Jordan Pendleton.
So it's about 4th and, let's say, about 1.5 yards. Florida State's going to punt the ball away.
And we've seen that 3 times now. Christian Ponder running a sort of wildcat type running game, getting the running back in front of him. But there, BYU does a good job stringing it out and holding Florida State and making them punt the football.
3rd time they've gone 3 and out in the afternoon. Sean Powell back into punt. 10 BYU defenders on the line. Some of them peel back, and they almost got to it. Powell goes down, but we don't see a penalty flag. Punt fielded by Chambers, who was taken down at the 30. Big time punt rush. Powell went down.
Here's a look at BYU coming in on the punter. Well, that's a good acting job right there, because it really did not look like he had much contact. But he's got to give it his best effort.
Terrific job by Powell, the junior from Rome, Georgia, to try to get a call. Did not do it. So now 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go. BYU with all 3 of its timeouts, starting out from the 29-yard line. Powell also had a 49-yard punt on that last play. Heaps, 4 series in a row now. He has been at quarterback. DeLuigi pops it out to the outside, picks up the first down, and a whole lot more, starting to get some running room in the last couple of drives. Joyner knocks him out of bounds, but it's 20 more yards for DeLuigi.
DeLuigi starting to find his rhythm, as well as the BYU offensive line giving him some opportunities. And Florida State's got to be careful, because one thing that the coaches definitely stressed was that BYU will never give up.
Heaps completes it over the middle to DeLuigi. And the running back with a couple of big plays back-to-back. Bradham makes the stop. But they're down to the 39-yard line of Florida State. And a first down.
BYU really picking up the pace, getting to the football. Jay keeps getting comfortable in the no huddle.
The no huddle really bothering Florida State last week at Oklahoma. Korea with the carry, picks up 4.
And there's different types of speeds that you run a no huddle with. Earlier in the game, it was a little bit slower, and Jay Keeps now applying the pressure to Florida State's defense, getting his guys lined up much quicker, and getting the snap off, keeping this defense on their heels.
They still have 3 timeouts remaining as we go under 1:20 to go in the first half. Keeps stays in the pocket, delivers it, and it is not brought in. Cody Hoffman, defended by Greg Reed.
This was a great job by the backs. Watch number 33, Brian Correa, come over, pick up the linebacker, give Jay Keeps time to look down the field. And that's a play that Cody Hoffman's got to make for his quarterback. It was well defended, but if it hits you in the hands, you should come down with that one.
Boy, Reed went in there and got his hand in there to knock it away. 3rd and 6. Heaps throws it low. It's completed past the first down marker. Luke Ashworth, defended by Joyner, came up with the big 3rd down grab.
And Pam, it really looks to me like this team, this BYU offense, is finding their identity right now. Jay Keeps looks very comfortable back there, and I know we don't see all the things at practice, what goes on in training camp, but Jay Keeps looks very comfortable running this offense.
True freshman from the state of Washington. Play action, goes to his check down man. It's completed to Mike Haig, sophomore from Salt Lake City, picks up 13 and another first down.
And that's an outstanding job. Jay Keeps, this is a very mature move for a quarterback. Senses the clock go off in his head that he has to find his check down and gets rid of it on time. And a lot of times when you look down the field, you come back to your check down, he'll pick up a lot of yards for you, as you saw there.
That's the 6th receiver to catch a ball today for Brigham Young. First down at the 15. Several Florida State players jump off sides. We'll see if they were induced.
Dead ball, offside, defense, number 97, contact in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
DeMonte McAllister called for the contact. Coming up in the ESPNU halftime report with Dari Noka and Chris Doring. Virginia Tech struggling at home again. Mark Ingram with a terrific return. And Michigan was down to UMass, a team in the championship series, former 1AA.
And Denard Robinson once again with a big day. Michigan looks like they're back on track.
1st and 5 after the penalty, into the end zone and batted away by LaMarcus Joyner. The coaches think that he is going to be a very special and good cornerback. Knocked it away from Ashworth.
Well, he was a highly touted high school recruit of St. Thomas down in Fort Lauderdale, and he has some special skills out there. True freshman making a great play on the football. A lot of times you don't see that from young players. Gets his head around, finds it, and bats it down.
In fact, he was USA Today's National High School Defensive Player of the Year last year, playing now as a true freshman. 2nd and 5 from the 10. DeLuigi is stopped. BYU needs to take one of its 3 timeouts right now. Actually picked up a first down, which will stop the clock momentarily. So a 1st and goal coming up for BYU, and the Cougars do take a timeout.
This is huge here for BYU. If they can go in with a score at halftime and keep the score 13-10, you talk about a momentum shift, because it was all Florida State in the first quarter and most of the second quarter, but BYU looks like they found a little bit of rhythm with Jay Keeps at the quarterback position.
They've already gone 67 yards on this drive. Their previous long drive was a 49-yarder that resulted in the field goal the last time they had the football, so they really have gotten it together. 4th straight possessions now. They have gone with the true freshman, and they are starting to click.
I mean, I'm a firm believer. I believe that's why they're having success, is because they're sticking with one guy, giving him a chance to go out there and just play football. An offensive coordinator, Robert Anai, he talked about how impressive this young true freshman. He called him the best true freshman he has ever seen as far as being prepared and ready to play the game at such an early stage in his career.
Now with the 1st and goal at the 4. Heaps has completed 3 of his 5 passes on this drive, gives it back to DeLuigi, who tries to get around the corner and goes down. Maybe got a yard. Greg Reed coming up from his corner spot to make the stop. And another timeout.
BYU running with a full house in the backfield, had a load of running backs.
Boy, Reed coming in and throwing his body at DeLuigi.
And Reed's playing with a lot of pride right now. He did take some heat for his tackling, or his poor tackling last week, and looks much better prepared today.
Credited with 10 tackles, but still missed some. And I think the Florida State coaching staff said there were at least 15 missed tackles that they counted as a team on tape.
Across the board. It was kind of interesting talking to both coaches this week. A lot of similar talk coming from both sides. Both teams talked about poor fundamentals, poor tackling, you know, immaturity, young teams. A lot of similar circumstances for both of these teams. And both of them so far have played pretty well, especially BYU picking it up here in the 2nd quarter, making it a very competitive game.
Florida State had to settle for a couple of field goals to go up 6-0. There was the offensive coordinator, Robert Anai, now in his 6th year. And on the other side, Mark Stoops from the famous Stoops coaching family said it just felt like it was the right time to leave Arizona and take this job at Florida State. He has had several offers before. 2nd and goal, another full house backfield for BYU. DeLuigi gets it, and it's taken down immediately. A great defensive stand by Florida State as BYU keeps going on the ground.
And Florida State just doing a great job at the point of attack. Linebackers coming up to fill the hole. Even the safety, Nick Moody, getting involved, making a great open field tackle. There's a ground level look. DeLuigi has nowhere to go. And that's a situation where they've got a timeout in their back pocket. A lot of teams might be thinking you're going to do play action because you don't want the clock to keep moving, but they had it in their back pocket. They could take another stab on the ground. And now they're in a situation where they probably do have to throw it. Although with 18 seconds, they could attempt a running play and sprint on the field goal team, but we'll have to see what Robert Anay has dialed up.
3rd and goal here. No timeouts remaining. Nick Moody starting today at Free State. He made that terrific stop on the last play. Now Florida State's called a timeout. Mark Stoops wants to make sure his guys are all on the same page, and a huge sequence coming up.
This is big for both teams. It's a big momentum play right here. Florida State can come up with a stop. They'll have the momentum going into halftime, and vice versa for BYU. If they can score, what a huge confidence booster for them to take it into the locker room.
Both teams coming into this game at 1-1. BYU beat Washington in week 1, then lost at Air Force last week. Samford was the team Florida State beat in week 1. A lot of people were excited about that 59-6 score around here, but then they went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, it was a catch-22 situation because you wanted to have a strong performance, but then the expectations were set so high, people thought the Florida State team was going to go in and get a victory in Norman, which is not an easy task, to put it mildly.
3rd and goal. 4 wide receivers in now for BYU. The true freshman at quarterback. Jacobson in motion. Heaps into the end zone, has his man, touchdown. Cody Hoffman with the score.
And what a big-time throw by Jake Heaps. I really think you're seeing a quarterback come of age right here. Surveying the field, does a great job staying patient, finding his receiver in the back of the end zone. Watch his eyes, looks to the left, comes back underneath, and delivers a bullet. You can see his strong arm right there to Cody Hoffman, number 2. And you talk about identity. I really believe this BYU offense is finding their quarterback, finding their leader in their true freshman quarterback, Jake Heaps.
And you have just seen Jake Heaps' first collegiate touchdown pass. There will be more.
That was one thing Bronco Mendenhall did stress to us, that he said Jake Heaps will be a successful quarterback for BYU in the long term. He just didn't know when it would happen. And I think they're all pleasantly surprised that it's happening right now in Tallahassee.
On a huge stage here in Tallahassee, Matt Reynolds, the very talented left tackle, is being helped off the field. BYU's left tackle being helped off. Boy, he was a gamer last week in this game against Air Force. Had to take IVs for a couple of days before the game. 4 bags of IV right before the game, and still played against Air Force. Mitch Payne in to add the extra point. And BYU, which really struggled in its first 5 drives, has come up with 10 points in its last 2.
Here's Heaps from field level. And this is one thing that separates an average quarterback from a great quarterback, is being able to make tight throws down in the red zone when there's not much field to work with. And there he delivered a perfect strike.
A very nifty 71-yard drive. Took up less than 2 minutes. They used up all 3 of their timeouts. And it culminates with Hoffman's first career touchdown catch. And Heaps' first career touchdown throw for BYU.
Well, Bronco Mendenhall said they did want to protect him of sorts. He is a young quarterback. They don't want to get him flustered or have him have a poor performance and shake his confidence, but this is a huge confidence builder for this young guy.
And everyone we talked to at BYU said that he was confident and came in, as you mentioned earlier, Danny, very well prepared coming in as a true freshman, and has handled the 2 quarterback situation very graciously.
And he's really been a blessed young athlete. Almost one of these guys who's been born and bred to be a quarterback. Spent a lot of time at some of the prestigious camps around the country in high school, and really was noticed by a lot of colleges across the country.
Decided to play his college ball at BYU. Short kickoff taken at the 30. And then spun down around the 31-yard line is Lonnie Pryor, running back. So 10 seconds left to go. Here's Christian Ponder, going to get the ball around the 31-yard line. Ponder in the first half, 7 of 12 for 68 yards. His team only up by 3, and this crowd has gotten really quiet.
Yep, they haven't had much to cheer for recently, and BYU with the hot hand currently grabbing the momentum.
Ponder looks like he's going to take a knee, and indeed he does, to end the first half. Some boos cascading down from the crowd here at Florida State. BYU with a couple of impressive drives at the end of the half. Touchdown throw from Heaps to Hoffman makes the score 13-10 Florida State at the half. Welcome back to the All-State Game of the Week. Second half about to get underway at Florida State. The Seminoles leading BYU by the score of 13-10. This was a game that was dominated pretty much by Florida State early on. They had a big fumble that took points off the board more than likely, but now they have the 3-point lead over BYU. Pam Ward joined by former Florida State and NFL quarterback Danny Cannell, and it really was Florida State early and BYU late.
Well, we talked about it at the open. It was a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde for both teams early in the season, and it's been that way in this game so far. Both teams have had a little success, and then they've struggled a little bit, but BYU had the momentum going in at halftime.
Both teams coming off of disheartening losses last week. BYU losing to Air Force, and then Oklahoma falling winning 47-17 over Florida State in Norman. And another booming kickoff That goes through the end zone. Dustin Hopkins with a big-time leg. Here's some first-half plays for you.
Florida State early gets Chris Thompson involved. Lonnie Pryor, the fullback, with a great block on Jordan Pendleton, springs him open for the big hole. Chris Thompson finds a huge hole and takes advantage of it. And on the other side, BYU finally started to get things going. It took a while, but once they settled on Jake Heaps at quarterback, he found a little rhythm, finding his running back DeLuigi, and later going to Cody Hoffman in the back of the end zone, catching the momentum before halftime.
Scoring those 10 points in their last 2 possessions of the first half, and Jake Heaps continues as the quarterback. Riley Nelson started the game at quarterback. They alternated through the first 4 series, but it has been all Heaps ever since. Take a look at the numbers from the first half. Florida State was outgaining BYU badly until the end of the second quarter. 3 sacks for Florida State. BYU had given up 0 sacks in their first 2 games. And that one big turnover by Florida State when BYU got the ball at the 12, just as Florida State appeared to be driving in for a score. Heaps, the freshman, plenty of time, floats one that goes out of bounds. McKay Jacobson was the receiver over there.
Well, he got drilled as he was trying to throw the ball, and it really affected his throw. Florida State's got to go back to pressuring the quarterback. That's why they had so much success early in the football game. In the second quarter, they weren't getting to him, and Jake Heaps, once he gets comfortable in the pocket, he can be dangerous. Even though he's young, he has a pretty good grasp of this offense.
Coaches rave about how poised he is for a true freshman. Here he is facing a 3rd and 4, opening drive of the second half. That one is too high, intended for Hoffman, who caught the touchdown pass in the second quarter. Greg Reed on the coverage.
And even on a bad throw, you can see the velocity that it comes out with. He's got plenty of arm strength making the cross the field throw. It's one of those situations, again, you come out at halftime, you got to find that rhythm. Sometimes it takes a while, but he had his receiver, just missed him.
So 3 plays and a punt for BYU to start off the second half. Riley Stevenson, a very good punter, getting ready to kick to Greg Reed, who's an even better punt returner.
And BYU so far has been able to contain Greg Reed with great directional punting, kicking towards the sideline, not giving him anywhere to run.
Kick away from him again. This one is short, especially by Stevenson standards, but it goes out of bounds. They don't want Reed to get his hands on that football. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues tonight at 7 Eastern as number 15 LSU hosts Mississippi State in an SEC battle. Follow that up at 10:30 Eastern as we take you out west. UNLV takes on Idaho. College football primetime presented by 5 Hour Energy on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. That 3 and out, by the way, by BYU was its first 3 and out since its opening possession of the game when Riley Nelson was at quarterback. Christian Ponder going all the way for Florida State. Chris Thompson, the running back, he had a huge 83-yard touchdown run earlier in this game. Ponder hangs onto it, cuts inside, picks up about 5 yards. Austin Jorgensen making the stop.
And there's about the 4th time we've seen Christian Ponder with just a straight zone run to the left, and you've seen them run this a few times. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'd like to see you get the ball in the hands of the guys with the speed. Get them in Chris Thompson's hands, Jermaine Thomas, Ty Jones. Christian Ponder's an exceptional runner, but I don't know why he has to take the pounding just running the football so many times.
Brings up a 2nd and 5, play action. Ponder against the grain, gets it to Reed. Reed picks up the seminal first down into BYU territory.
That's good for another Florida State.
And Burt Reed, who had the spectacular catch early in the game, but ended up turning it over, giving it back to BYU. He has been Christian Ponder's favorite target for most of the year, and he continues to be so.
Reed also had a fumble that he was the one who lost the ball at the 12-yard line, actually hit the helmet of a teammate that knocked the ball loose. But he dropped the first pass that was thrown to him, and since then he's been very solid. Ponder with time has a man wide open, and he just missed him. Boy, Javaris Little was all alone, and the ball was a little bit overthrown.
Huge opportunity here. You can freeze it right here. Here's the middle safety right here. He's going to go to the middle of the field. You're going to have a seam route here and a seam route over here, and this one is wide open. Let it play. Christian Ponder missed a huge opportunity there. He did get drilled when he was throwing the football. Definitely affected his throw to Javaris Little. But those are the opportunities. You only get those types of wide open shots so many times a game. I know you're getting killed while you're throwing it. You got to find a way to get it there.
79 yards passing, 30 yards rushing for Ponder. Back to throw again, in trouble. Rolling to his left, hangs onto it. Goes out of bounds around the 44-yard line. Picks up about 3. Vixa Otto with the big-time pressure for BYU.
Great look at Christian Ponder's eyes, surveying the field, keeping him downfield while he's running, avoiding tacklers. And nowhere to go with the football, so he picks up some yardage. A lot of guys just have to throw that away. I was one of them, Pam. I did not run around like that.
Could you have even gotten out on the outside like that?
No, I would have thrown it away before.
Yeah, a long time ago. 3rd and 7. Ponder so nifty with his feet. 3 receivers to his right. He has time, throws it underneath. It is caught by Reed, who really is becoming his go-to receiver. He picks up the first down.
Here's a look at Christian Ponder and all that he's accomplished. He really is a stellar young man and a great football player. He had obviously the Heisman campaign kicked off early. One of the great things he's able to do is put accurate passes like that one to Burt Reed there. He can throw it all over the field, make every throw he needs to. And not only that, he's an exceptional leader for this team.
Reed already 7 catches for 77 yards. Ponder handing it off to Jones. And he runs close to another first down. Good opening drive for Florida State.
On the stop, number 7, Brian.
And really, it feels like Florida State's offense feels like the left side of their offensive line is the strength. Even with Andrew Datko out, they've been working the left side of BYU's defense most of the day and continue to do so here. All the running backs getting the touches today, too.
It is indeed a first down for Florida State. Ball sitting just outside the 25-yard line on their opening drive of the second half. Halstead in motion. Stays in to pass or to run protect. Got in there to block for Jones. Jorgensen making the stop after a 2-yard carry.
And there they work a run to the right. They want to keep everybody honest. They must have heard me up here. They don't want to show any tendencies.
Yep, Datko not starting because of a shoulder problem that's been bothering him since fall camp. Orleans has done a good job, the redshirt freshman from Belglade, Florida, filling in for him. 2nd and 9. Ponder hangs onto it, broke a tackle, jumped over another defender and picked up the first down. Maybe that's why they have him run the ball so often.
Absolutely, I would too. I mean, that was an outstanding job making something happen. But watch Shane Hunter, the linebacker, number 51, has Christian Ponder in his grasp, just missed him right there. When you give a guy like Ponder a second chance, he's going to make you pay.
10 yards on that. Christian 7 carries now. The carries a good per carry average. 9 carries for 43 yards for Christian. Chris Thompson had the carry that time for Florida State. Of course, Ponder last year was a terrific season last year, on pace for a 4,000-yard season through the air. And then he hurt his shoulder in the 9th game, and that ended his season. Was really having a spectacular year for Florida State. He looks like he's 100% right now.
He absolutely does.
Good drive, 9 plays, 51 yards after BYU went 3 and out in their first possession of the second half. Ponder with time. Finally, the protection breaks down. Everybody was covered downfield, and BYU gets a sack. Ethan Mano Melo Una, a sophomore from Anchorage, coming up with the sack.
And early in the game, you saw BYU's quarterbacks go down due to coverage sacks. And here, Florida State, Christian Ponder goes down, same situation, looking down the field, nowhere to go with the football. The longer you hold on to it, those guys are coming after you. And that chance, they did a good job making sure he did not get outside the pocket and get those extra yards scrambling.
Una taking a little break after the sack. Second sack of Ponder today. 3rd and 12. Ponder coolly stays in the middle, delivers it for the first down to Rodney Smith, the big sophomore. Ponder is slow getting up in the backfield.
And a great job by your veteran quarterback, hanging in the pocket, finding his outlet receiver late, but he does take a hit here and came up a little bit gimpy. Saw a very similar hit last week against Oklahoma. He got knocked down in a very similar fashion.
Like he was favoring his left ankle a little bit. And he's hanging in there. 1st and goal from the 3. That carry, minimal yardage for Ty Jones. Andrew Rich making the stop. Rich, the top returning tackler and interceptor on this team. A terrific senior out of Ogden, Utah. Former walk-on who the defensive coaches say is definitely their best player.
And Florida State here needs to punch in for 7 points. This is something that plagued them early in the game. They would get down in the red zone and fail to get a touchdown.
That's right. They had to settle for a couple of field goals and then the fumble that we've talked about as well. Back in the first half. On 2nd and goal, right up the middle, stopped at the line of scrimmage. Austin Jorgensen with another good tackle, had a career-high 7 last week at Air Force. Has 5 already today.
And BYU, they might not have the biggest guys. Their front 7 is young and experienced, but they are tough. They come up and they do a great job at the point of attack. Outstanding job by Austin Jorgensen.
3rd and goal. Florida State has already converted a pair of 3rd downs on this drive. And here they are from the 3. Ponder fakes the handoff, throws into the end zone, touchdown Seminoles. Ty Jones with the score on 3rd and goal.
Great job by Christian Ponder getting pressure right in his face and finding Ty Jones his outlet. That's his quick outlet. Immediately knows he's got to get rid of the football when So'oto comes after him. And that's how you get easy touchdowns. You know where to go with the football when you're in trouble.
Jones with the touchdown catch, a nice 63-yard drive. Extra point added by Hopkins. Terrific start to the second half for Florida State as they drive the ball down the field. Ponder with his 5th touchdown throw of the season.
I got those Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets. Are they too spicy for you? Well, what is it?
They're only 99 cents.
Try Wendy's 99-cent spicy chicken nuggets.
All white meat seasoned with peppers and savory spices.
Yeah, but the real kick, you get 5 pieces for only 99 cents.
Only at Wendy's.
You know when it's real.
Treat yourself to a cool, creamy Frosty today. Also just 99 cents.
Yep.
We enhanced the driver's sensation of speed in the Lexus supercar by partnering with the craftsmen at Yamaha Music to acoustically tune our engine. This is shaping the future while stirring the senses. This is the pursuit of the impossible. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Style points don't show up in the box score. Talking a good game has never won a championship. And we're sorry to break it to you. It's not the shoes. It's the work, the pride, the blood, and the tears. Because Russell's wicking sweat out of the equation. Russell Dry Power Moisture Wicking Tees and Fleece. The next evolution in over 100 years of raw performance.
Get the best gridiron coverage on College Football Live. Our team is on the pulse of the game, bringing you analysis, highlights, big game predictions.
I'm going Big Red.
And unique features that will keep you wanting more.
Let's go, guys.
College Football Live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
This telecast is presented in high definition on ESPNU HD by Comcast.
And this season, our game's featuring tunes by some incredible musicians like Shinedown, The Cab, Meatloaf, and 303, to name a few. Thanks for letting us use your music. I think it's 303. I'm not cool enough, Danny, to quite know what that group is.
Yeah, you are.
I don't think
You're
so,
up
buddy.
on the music scene.
No, I don't know. Maybe about 30 years ago. Florida State up 10 on BYU. The fans getting excited now because they just witnessed a 14-play, 63-yard drive that ate up almost 7 minutes of clock, culminating with Ty Jones' touchdown catch. Another huge kickoff. Does this kid have a leg or what? Dustin Hopkins pounds it deep in the end zone again. Let's go back to the TD.
This is a great play call by Jimbo Fisher. They're going to run a wide receiver. They're going to fake the ball to this guy in motion right there. But watch Ty Jones take a little stutter step. That's a lot of move to the left side of your screen. But he's going to slide under So'oto, who's the pressure. And as soon as Christian Ponder feels that pressure, he's going to find Ty Jones, who slips right by BYU's defense. That's an easy touchdown right there for the Seminoles.
Boy, that was really pretty, wasn't it, the way they executed that? Jones with his first touchdown catch. And now Jake Heaps, who has been the quarterback for BYU exclusively. Heaps has since the 4th drive of this game.
He's directing a lot of traffic back there for a young, true freshman quarterback.
Came in during the spring of this year to take part in spring practice. Correa goes down. Moody with the stop after a 3-yard gain. So the 2-quarterback system, BYU has used it all season, and there are their numbers today.
Well, there was a little bit of an inclination that you would see Jake Heaps just because of Florida State's struggles with the pass defense, and sure enough, Jake Heaps is the guy who's had the hot hand today and the most success.
Nelson known more for his ability as a runner than as a passer. DeLuigi, who's shown talent both as a runner and as a receiver, gets that pass.
And the more I watch Heaps play, the more impressed I am with him, with his decision making, with his ability to read out, go through his progression and find his checkdowns. Really solid player right now. Very impressed with him. Playing in a pretty hostile environment, coming on the road, you're down, and yet he's showing a lot of composure.
Picked up the first down on that last throw. Lots of time, finds his receiver. McKay Jacobson. Let's get an update now from Darinoka.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring in former Florida receiver Chris Doring for this one. Tennessee and the Gators down 10-3. Matt Sims to Denarius Moore, and we're tied. Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
And BYU's most of their success has come out of the no-huddle offense, and that's an area where Florida State is going to have to adjust and get used to it, because more people that see this on film, they're going to do it week in and week out until Florida State steps up and stops it.
Brian Correa with they were doing the hurry-up offense, picked up another first down. And there's a DeLuigi run. He picks up 3. So just going back to Dari's update. Tennessee and Florida tied up at 10 apiece.
Well,
and they flashed it up on the screen here at the stadium. There was a huge roar.
As they should, because it doesn't matter who's playing the Gators. They will get rooted for. But it's interesting. You know, a lot of people said Tennessee was going to be weak, but they had a poor performance against Oregon in the second half, but they're going toe-to-toe with the Gators. It's one of those rivalry games that's always tight.
2nd and 6 for BYU. Heaps to Hoffman. And Hoffman is taken down by Greg Reed as soon as he caught the ball. Picks up about 4 on that play. A lot of different personnel now coming onto the field for BYU, and you see the first 5 drives. Not so hot for BYU, but the last 4, they really have gotten things going. All 4 of those drives with Heaps at quarterback. Here's a 3rd and 3 for the true freshman. Florida State was offsides. Here's a free play. And a big hit. Michael Harris just drilled Luke Ashworth, who still held onto the football, but it's going to be offsides Florida State.
Offside. Defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty. Yardage results at first down.
Well, I believe the official might want to get his glasses checked, because right here it's number 98 actually, Marcus White, who's going to get, he's trying to get a sack, but you've got to hold your water. We talked about it earlier. One of those things, you just handed BYU a first down on a silver platter.
White already has a sack and a fumble recovery today, but that was a big offsides call. Heaps in trouble. Somehow got away from it and still almost completed the pass. That was Spencer Hofoka, who could not bring it in.
And Heaps, not the biggest guy at 6'1", 194 pounds, but he does feel some pressure. A couple guys bounce on him. They're going for the strip. They're trying to take the ball away, and once again does find his outlet. He goes with the right place with the football. Even though it wasn't completed, it was a solid decision.
That's the first time that he has misfired on this drive. Second and 10. And nothing doing. Getting into the backfield, Everett Dawkins was all over DeLuigi. Dropped him for a loss.
One of the big things that this Florida State defense did, and with their strength and conditioning coach, was get some power up front. Everett Dawkins coming through the line of scrimmage, using some of the extra 20 pounds that he put in the offseason to muscle his way into the quarterback.
And on 3rd and 13, here comes some crowd noise. Heaps, flushed out of the pocket, goes down. The 4th sack of the game for Florida State, but their first since the 3rd series of the game for BYU. It was Dawkins with another big play.
Well, we just talked about his added weight gain, as obviously has gotten stronger. And when you're in better shape, you can rush the passer in the 3rd quarter on a day when it's 93 degrees out and it's humid and hot, and they're still getting after Jake Heaps, giving him a tough time to look down the field. It's 3rd and 13. There's not a whole lot to do there, so you're better off just taking the sack, kicking it away, and letting your defense play.
Instead, they lost 14 yards. Could be big in the, as far as field position, but not when you get a punt off like that by Stevenson. They finally kick it to Reed. The very dangerous Greg Reed is able to squirt away for a few extra yards. 55-yard punt, a 7-yard return. The Seminoles have the ball in a 10-point lead.
We enhanced the driver's sensation of speed in the Lexus Supercar by partnering with the craftsmen at Yamaha Music to acoustically tune our engine. This is shaping the future while stirring the senses. This is the pursuit of the impossible. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Get what you crave. Doritos Late Night Cheeseburger.
ESPNU is home for the passionate college football fan as our experts break down the top 25 in a weekly 3-hour special.
Alabama looked fantastic this week. Where are they now, and where are they going to be? That's the key.
Go inside the game as our football gurus explain the ins and outs.
Don't try to be extraordinary. You go back to the one thing that you do well.
They're going to have to diagnose the run. They're going to have to go against a big offensive line.
Four of the starters could easily end up as first-team All-Americans.
The Experts, Tuesday at 1 on ESPNU.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week, brought to you by the new 2011 Lexus IS, wheeled precision. Welcome back to Florida State. The Seminoles with a 20-10 lead over BYU. Join host Lowell Galindo with David Pollack and Charles Arbuckle for BCS Countdown for in-depth analysis of this week's games and a look ahead to next week's action. The BCS Countdown presented by Allstate Monday at 6 Eastern on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. So a nice 55-yard punt by Riley Stevenson, his third punt of at least 50 yards today, has pushed the Seminoles back to the 14-yard line.
Riley Stevenson with a huge week 1, had a couple of shanks last week. Looks like he's back to his solid form.
Oh, nice cut. And then shaking the tackle. Chris Thompson already has an 83-yard run for a touchdown. He's out to midfield where flags come down. He picked up 31 more.
Well, Chris Thompson's a guy that you better get down, because if you don't, he'll find a seam and he will hit it. See guys bouncing off of him if you don't wrap him up. He already showed us earlier in the game he's got potential to break a big play. And there's Brandon Bradley grabbing the helmet. Officials all over it and tack on the extra yards to that run.
Bradley, the native from Tallahassee, grabbing onto the helmet, 15 yards, tacked that onto the run. It's a 46-yard gain for Florida State. First down on the 40, excuse me,
Chris Thompson looks like the hot guy. We mentioned it earlier. He had the hot feet, adding on to his total yardage today.
He was in a battle with Jermaine Thomas during camp, but boy, he really has shown an incredible burst. 3 carries for 116 yards. That's better than Mark Ingram. Oh, what a catch! Willie Halstead going up in front of Bradley and hauling it in. First and goal.
Well, Florida State coaches are going to be loving this. They were waiting for somebody to step up at the 3rd and 4th wide receiver spots, and Willie Halstead goes up and hauls one in right there. Brandon Bradley, I feel kind of bad for him because he's been in great position all day. Halstead just climbs the ladder and goes and makes a spectacular grab.
That's a 34-yard gain. Went up and grabbed it with one arm. First and goal. Ty Jones gets around the corner and is stopped just short of the goal line. Jorgensen with the touchdown-saving tackle.
Well, the backs just keep coming at you. Give Thompson a blow and let Ty Jones take a carry, and look at the cut up inside right there to gain the extra yardage. Grabbed a great block from Bo Relaford, his tight end, and almost gets to the end zone.
Second and goal from inside the 1. And a Florida State touchdown. Ponder hanging on, taking it the extra yard all by himself.
And Ponder wisely taking it behind his 4th-year starting center, Ryan McMahon, and his 4th-year starting guard, Rodney Hudson. Finding his strengths of his offensive line and running, following those big guys up front.
See, they covered a lot of ground in a very short amount of time. 31-yard rush plus a 15-yard penalty, a 34-yard pass, a 5-yard run, capped off by the 1-yard run by Ponder. Hopkins' extra point extends the lead to 27-10 for Florida State. Ponder, a terrific athlete, a great student, and now he's got himself a rushing touchdown.
Your source for the best gridiron coverage is College Football Live. Our team is on the pulse of the game, bringing you analysis.
If they lose this game, they're definitely out of the national championship talk.
Breaking news, highlights, and big game predictions.
I'm going Big Red, baby.
Plus, we go deep for exclusive interviews.
The secret is out, my friend.
And unique features that will keep you wanting more.
Let's go, guys. Come on.
College Football Live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
Money's tight. You switch brands of shaving cream, toilet paper, eating a few more burgers, a few less steaks.
But sacrificing quality for cost savings on your new truck?
That's something you don't have to do at King's.
You get quality and savings.
Like the 2010 Ford Ranger, awarded Best in Class Fuel Economy.
And during our truck event, you can get a new 2010 Ford Ranger Super Cab
for only $279 a month.
Why does saving have to be so painful?
King's Colonial Ford, where the lowest overhead means the lowest price.
You want a new car. You need
a new car. Your dog needs a new car. But you'll have to choose one car out of thousands. So what do you really need? You need VHIX.com. Find a great car fast and get on with your life. VHIX.com. Find your ride.
College football fans won't want to miss ESPNU's latest show, The Experts. 6 experts, unfiltered conversation about the hot topics in college football. Comes your way Tuesdays, live at 1 Eastern with an encore presentation at 7 Eastern, only on ESPNU. My colleague Danny Cannell was on it early on, and I'm openly campaigning. You can't have an expert show without you.
That's right.
I mean,
hopefully I'll be back sooner or later.
Light,
especially during the season. There's so much to talk about. Virginia Tech's rough start to the season. Denard Robinson, his spectacular start. You've got Reggie Bush giving back the Heisman Trophy. A lot of stuff. 3 hours to talk about it.
Wow. It's a good show. You should watch it anyway. But if you were on it, it'd be just it would be Emmy material. Florida State with a couple of really good drives here in the third quarter. A couple of touchdowns that they have scored to extend this lead to 27-10. At the half, it was 13-10, Florida State. This crowd, which was a little surly at halftime when BYU scored the touchdown to get to within a field goal, now starting to feel a little bit better. This guy could get touchbacks in Canada.
The thing that's so impressive about it is not only is it deep, but the hang time is unreal.
Well, maybe not a touchback in Canada, because if you don't run it out, you give up a point. Florida State has 4 sacks today. BYU had given up 0 coming into this game.
Well, this is something that's been lacking a long time at this program here in Tallahassee, but today the defensive line has done an outstanding job getting after the quarterback, controlling the line of scrimmage, and just dominating so far the front 7.
So many question marks about this defense. Statistically, they were among the worst in the nation last year. Not off to a great start this year, but so far looking all right against a BYU team. It has a lot of new guys on their offense in the skill position. DeLuigi picks up a couple. Now, we talked about the struggling defense, and the numbers we're about to show you bear that out.
Well, that's pretty abysmal there in 2009. 108 in FBS out of 120 schools. And you're talking about a program that traditionally has been one of the top defenses in the country.
In those 3 years, Jimbo Fisher, you saw the offensive coordinator as DeLuigi gets a couple more. Now the head coach was the offensive coordinator back then. Here's an update. Dari Noka, take it away.
All right, how about Florida, Tennessee? Now, we showed you Tennessee tie it at 10. Now, Florida went down, got a touchdown pass from John Brantley to Frankie Hammond, and then Mike Gillisley's second touchdown run of the day. Gators up 2 TDs.
Thank you, Dari. That won't make the folks here in Tallahassee very happy. Here's the 3rd and 6, and we're going to run that play. BYU will when we come back, when the fourth quarter begins. A very good third quarter for Florida State. They get a couple of touchdowns. Ty Jones catching a touchdown pass from Christian Ponder, and then Ponder taking it in from 1. Fourth quarter coming up. Florida State leading it 27-10.
Break down college football's top 25 with the experts. Tuesday at 1 on ESPNU.
Start your engine.
Driver's sensation of speed in the Lexus Supercar by partnering with the craftsmen at Yamaha Music to acoustically tune our engine. This is shaping the future while stirring the senses. This is the pursuit of the impossible. This is the pursuit of perfection.
time to take matters into your own hands. AutoZone's got the advice and expertise you need to take on any job, because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Your source for the best gridiron coverage is College Football Live. Our team is on the pulse of the game, bringing you analysis.
If they lose this game, they're definitely out of the national championship talk.
Breaking news, highlights, and big game predictions.
I'm going Big Red, baby.
Plus, we go deep for exclusive interviews.
The secret is out, my friend.
And unique features that will keep you wanting more.
Let's go, guys. Come on.
College Football Live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
Week 2, Saints 49ers. Drew Brees, he's very tough to beat, John.
But watch Patrick Willis. He will bring the heat.
Right, Jaws. Willis is outstanding, but the Niners D has got to keep all the Saints' offensive weapons in check.
Don't forget, Coach, the 49ers have a few big play threats of their own, and you know Singletary will have his team fired up for the defending champs.
ESPN Monday Night Football, Saints 49ers at 8:30.
The Longhorns and the Fighting Irish face difficult tests on the road on Saturday Night Football. Texas, Texas Tech, and Notre Dame, Michigan State. Tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC or ESPN2. College football lives here.
Coming up next weekend on the U, oh, that's a big one. 7 Eastern time, Mike Hartline and the Wildcats take on John Brantley and the Florida Gators. The Gators were locked up in a battle with Tennessee, but have started to extend that a little bit. Here we have Florida State with a 27-10 lead over BYU. Ponder has thrown for a touchdown and run for another one as the fourth quarter is about to get underway.
He's been solid. He looks like he's back on track to where he was last year before he got injured.
Season-ending shoulder injury in the 9th game of the year. They still went on to a bowl game and won it. E.J. Manuel, who's the backup, started those last few games. And there's a catch by DeLuigi for BYU on 3rd down, picks up the first down. Pressure by Brandon Jenkins.
Jake Heaps took an absolute shot right there, right in his face, and that's welcome to big-time college football. Brandon Jenkins, number 49, delivering a blow as soon as he threw it, but he bounced right back up.
DeLuigi has definitely been the go-to guy for Heaps. Running back with the big-time catch. That ball is skipped at the feet of intended receiver Luke Ashworth.
And one thing we heard Mark Stoops and James Coley and the Florida State coaches say is that they want their players to play like it's 0-0 at all times, and especially against a BYU team. They talked about last year being up by 3 touchdowns, and BYU never gave up. They came and fought till the very end, and I'm sure they'll do the same today.
BYU losing that game last year 54-28 in Provo when BYU was 7th in the nation. You might recall they had a huge win against Oklahoma a couple of weeks before. Another incompletion, 2 in a row, that time looking for Chambers over the middle.
Well, the BYU offensive line is doing a better job of giving Heaps time to look downfield. That's 2 misfires in a row after he took the big shot. You got to wonder if that's affected some of his accuracy.
Big guys protecting him in front. The best is Matt Reynolds, number 70, 3-year starter on all the lists for lineman of the year. Here's another 3rd down, 3rd and 10. Heaps goes down, 5th sack of the day for Florida State. This time it was Brandon Jenkins. Sophomore from right here in Tallahassee.
Once again, Florida State's defensive line giving BYU's left tackle fits. I mean, that's the strength. Matt Reynolds is their best guy. Brandon Jenkins just speed rushes him to the outside, gets around. This will be a welcome sight to Florida State fans who are so used to seeing opposing quarterbacks knocked down time after time, but it hasn't been the case here in quite some time.
Here comes Riley Stevenson. He's averaged 48 yards per punt. This is his 6th punt. Not quite the distance, and 2nd time in a row he's kicked it to Greg Reed. And Reed goes down at the 25-yard line. So Florida State has the ball when we come back, and when we come back, we'll look at page 7 of this year's Florida State Media Guide.
Style points don't show up in the box score. Talking a good game has never won a championship. And we're sorry to break it to you. It's not the shoes. It's the work, the pride, the blood, and the tears. Because Russell's wicking sweat out of the equation. Russell Dry Power Moisture Wicking Tees and Fleece. The next evolution in over 100 years of raw performance.
Gear up at Cabela's. Get what's new for the season at tough-to-beat prices. Shop your way online at Cabela's.com, by catalog, or in-store. Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter.
We got ADT because I walked in on a burglary once. The physical damage was pretty bad. The emotional toll was even worse. Our daughter had nightmares. What that robber really took from us was our peace of mind. With ADT, we got it back.
Every 15 seconds, a burglary takes place in the United States. Help protect your family with a fast alarm response of ADT. A single ADT system can help protect your home from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide. When an alarm is received, ADT can call the local authorities for help. And you get this monitored protection, plus great local service, all for about $1 a day. And only ADT offers a theft protection guarantee.
Take it from me. The time to think about a security system isn't after something bad happens. It's before.
Call now and save over $250 when you buy ADT's family package. And ask about our new technology, like our keychain remote. ADT, always there.
Welcome back to Florida State, where the Seminoles lead BYU 27-10. Florida State has a couple of national championships under its belt. The first one came back in 1993, immortalized on page 7 of this year's Florida State Media Guide. And
who's that guy doing that hold right there? That's pretty good form, isn't it?
Number 13, and that's the guy. Was that Scott Bentley's the kicker?
Yep.
And the perfect hold brought about a national championship.
That was a special time to give Coach Bowden his first national title. For so long it had plagued him, especially with the kickers missing so many wide rights. It was finally good to see somebody else miss a kick to win a national title.
Almost premature celebration though, right?
There was. Scott Bentley and myself, we actually went over and gave Coach Bowden the Gatorade shower a little bit early. We were sweating it out until they missed that field goal.
Danny Cannell holding on Scott Bentley's 22-yard field goal that gave the Seminoles an 18-16 lead, but Byron Bennett missed a 45-yard field goal, and it was the first of 2 national titles for Florida State. Thompson gets no gain on that carry, and there you are.
I could give a clinic on how to hold, Pam, if you would like, but I'd rather give a clinic on how to celebrate.
And you're gonna get a bowled under, right?
That's right. We had a great time there and a really special time.
Ended up on the bottom of that pile after holding for that.
I didn't mind getting squished at all.
For that field goal. 2nd and 10 now after Thompson had no gain. And this time they're going to lose yardage. Terrific penetration by Jamison Frazier. The junior linebacker dropped the ball carrier for a 5-yard loss.
What a great penetration job there by Jamison Frazier. How about Jamison speaks 4 different languages? Something you see a lot from these BYU guys. They go on their missions, spend 2 years in a foreign country, and really just pick up the language and the lifestyle.
English, of course, along with Spanish, French, and Haitian Creole. And Jamison is a 2nd-generation linebacker. His dad, Danny, was a linebacker at BYU before he had his career ended by an injury. And there's a big-time run, a broken tackle, and a first down for Ty Jones. Different running backs that Florida State has used, 3 different running backs, and they're accumulating a lot of yards.
Great job up front, getting some great blocks by his offensive linemen. And these Florida State backs, once you give them an opportunity, they're going to make the most of it. We've already seen Chris Thompson spring a couple. Ty Jones is getting in on the fun as well. And Florida State here, it's one of those situations where you can rely heavily on your veteran offensive line to kind of grind out the clock in the 4th quarter.
That was a 3rd and 15, and Jones picked up 20. Pass over to Halstead, He breaks a couple of tackles. Check that, it's Burt Reed who gets the first down. Great effort on the sideline there by Reed.
Burt Reed is the guy, the shifty receiver, the guy that you're going to go to. You'll find him on third down, get him the ball, and he is tough to tackle in the open field. You see him making a few moves there, missing linebackers, getting around and finding the first down.
There is an injured Cougar on the field as he is attended to. We will take a break and come right back. Okay, it's Logan.
Get what you crave. Doritos Late Night Cheeseburger.
I got those Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets. Are they too spicy for you? Well, what is it?
They're only 99 cents.
Try Wendy's 99-cent spicy chicken nuggets.
All white meat seasoned with peppers and savory spices.
Yeah, but the real kick, you get 5 pieces for only 99 cents.
Only at Wendy's.
You know when it's real.
Treat yourself to a cool, creamy Frosty today. Also just 99 cents.
Yep.
ESPNU is home for the passionate college football fan as our experts break down the top 25 in a weekly 3-hour special.
Alabama looked fantastic this week. Where are they now, and where are they going to be? That's the key.
Go inside the game as our football gurus explain the ins and outs.
Don't try to be extraordinary. You go back to the one thing that you do well.
They're going to have to diagnose the run. They're going to have to go against a big offensive line.
4 of the starters could easily end up as first-team All-Americans.
The Experts, Tuesday at 1 on ESPNU.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week brought to you by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Are you in good hands? Florida State looking good here in the second half. They have not given up any points and have extended their lead over BYU to 27-10. They have the football now at midfield in the house where Danny Cannell played quarterback so well.
I love your use of hyperbole. I love how you're able to exaggerate.
That's good. No, but you were Charlie Ward's backup, and then you were the man for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Ponder, who is the new version of Danny Cannell, puts one up. Rodney Smith almost got to it.
And how many times do you see it, Pam? You see a cornerback go down, and they're going to try out the new guy, number 25, Corby Eason, take a shot on him, make sure he's ready to go. But he did a great job. Good position. You're defending a huge wide receiver, and he did a great job.
Eason in there because Brian Logan was helped off the field right before the last timeout. Ponder, good numbers on the day. Thrown for 148 yards. After a very subpar game last week in Oklahoma. Oh, another good run, just tripped up when it looked like Chris Thompson picked up 6. He was just tripped up. He's had a couple of big runs today. Zach Stout made the stop. Now, let's go back. I wonder, partner, if you were ever nervous out on the football field. And we dug this up. You lined up very nicely under the right guard.
That was all part of the plan to disguise him. My old teammates are going to have a field day with this.
And then it looked like you almost run into your running back. And what did you get? A touchdown. Really?
78-yard touchdown at that.
Doesn't not that you remember or anything.
Let me tell you how long I heard about that play from my guard, Chad Bates. I went up at him, and I think he was as shocked as anybody when he felt somebody up under him.
Now, and was that a busted play then with the running back? Here's Ponder. That's something you didn't do.
No.
Oh, he lost the football at the end. 18-yard gain. It is a first down.
Well, Christian Ponder had a field day last year running the football. BYU said they did not realize how fast he was. This year, they're prepared. They know it, and they still can't stop him.
See, the ball came out, but he was squarely down by contact. Rodney Smith jumped on it anyway. Ponder, 12 carries now for 58 yards. In the second half, BYU is 0 for 3, 3 possessions, 3 punts. Whereas Florida State working on their third possession, 2 for 2 in their first 2 possessions, both of them touchdowns. So whatever adjustments were made at halftime, going against BYU, Ty Jones with the carry. Now we were in Boston College last week, and Dave Shinsky, the quarterback for BC, he started out his season this year by lining up under the wrong guy, and then he threw an interception on the same play. At least you had the good sense to throw a touchdown.
See, I can laugh about it now because I was able to come away with a touchdown. I don't know what you do if you throw an interception, but I had some pretty good talent around me. Just was able to spread it around and let the good guys, let the good athletes do all the work.
Danny Cannell back here. This is the second game you've done as a TV guy. You were here last year for the almost upset loss by Jacksonville State, right?
It's always good to come back to your old stomping grounds.
Florida State over 400 yards of total offense. Another nifty run by Ty Jones. Boy, they are breaking tackles left and right. That tackle by Aveni Langwai picks up 12, and usually this is a very fundamentally sound BYU defense.
But when you're trying to defend moves like that one, that little jump cut right there is so tough to tackle. There's one guy missed, there's two. Finally, the third or fourth try, they bring him down.
Very quick, keeping the feet going for Ty. Florida State, 262 rush yards this afternoon. 83 of them came on Chris Thompson's touchdown run back in the first half. Here's another 1st and 10. And another carry. Flag comes in from the back judge.
Jones on the carry.
Jones with the carry.
Holding, offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That's the tight end, Bo Relaford.
And really, looking back at the second half, I think that's pretty much the first negative play this Florida State offense has had. Really, James Coley and Jimbo Fisher, who run the offense, have got to be thoroughly pleased with the way Florida State has responded after their poor performance last week against Oklahoma. They wanted to see how this team would respond, how these young players would come out after facing some adversity, gave them a tough week of practice, and they've got to be very happy with the way the team has played today.
And earlier in this drive, remember, they had a 3rd and 15. Jones then ran for 20 on that play, and now more flags coming in. Looks like David Spurlock moved early.
Ball, false start, offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And I do believe we can hear Jimbo Fisher from all the way up here letting these guys have it, because he doesn't care if they're up 17 points. He wants them to play like it's 0-0. Play smart, play discipline. Enough with the foolish penalties. He's going to ride these guys hard.
So now it's 1st and 20 as we hit the 8-minute mark in the 4th quarter. Chris Thompson tackled by Jordan Pendleton. Pendleton we have up here now with 10 tackles.
Well, Jordan Pendleton started off early in the game. First play from scrimmage, made a great, outstanding play all day. He's been batting balls down, chasing guys from behind. Been all over the field. His dad played wide receiver at BYU. Kirk, he also played with Jim McMahon and Steve Young. Not a bad pair of QBs to be catching balls from.
Not at all. Pendleton today has a tackle for loss and also has broken up a pass on his resume along with the 10 tackles, so he has had a solid defensive game. Ponder throws it, completes it to Reed, who picks up a couple of yards. And so that is now for Burt Reed, his 9th catch of the game and his 100th career reception for Reed. BYU has never won in this state. And the last time they won on the road in the ACC 10 years ago when they won at UVA.
Well, it's tough to make that road trip. First of all, you've got some great teams within the state of Florida, and then on top of that, you come and play in this heat and humidity, and it's going to take its toll on your players. And I think they'll be pleased, though. I really do feel like they might have found their quarterback in Jake Heaps.
Timeout taken on 3rd and 18. We're at Bobby Bowden Field at Doak Campbell Stadium, and our friends at EA Sports come up with this animation. It's almost like you're in the stadium.
It is unreal to see the detail with which they can bring to you now on video games. It's almost like a flight simulator for you just put your quarterback in there and let him play for a few hours. Let him go through his reads.
That's the real picture right there, as if you couldn't tell. We have gone into the real photograph, or the real live pictures. A couple of cheerleading squads here. Did you know there's an all-female cheerleading squad and a co-ed cheerleading squad as well? You were aware of that, maybe, perhaps, Mr.
I was
Canal?
aware of the female cheerleading squad while I was here, but I wasn't aware that there were two.
Saw Chelsea McDonald, one of those cheerleaders, ran into her before the game, and that's hot work for them too. It's like 95 degrees when we started.
No, and they put in a lot, probably just as much practice time as the football players do. I actually got to go on a little run this morning and heard the marching Chiefs over, getting their pregame warm-up. Gave me a little pep in my step.
Yeah, made you run a little faster?
Absolutely.
Christian Ponder after the timeout on a 3rd and 18. We talked at the beginning of the game about a bounce-back opportunity for both teams after losses at Air Force for BYU and Florida State at Oklahoma, and Florida State really has played very well here in the second half, these penalties on this drive notwithstanding. Another run, staying conservative on 3rd and 18 to Jones. They get it over towards the right hash mark. Shane Hunter makes the stop for the Cougars.
And it was interesting talking to Bronco Mendenhall and the challenges he's facing with a very young team. They do have a lot of talent, but they still are young. And it was so interesting talking to him about the challenges he faces with the kids going on 2-year missions, and the fact that he's spent over 500 hours trying to come up with the best game plan for how to plug guys in and recruit certain players so that they can go on their missions and come back and be ready to play.
So in any given year, they'll have a 40% turnover in the roster because of graduation and also kids coming and going on missions. And that field goal attempt is no good. From 34, Hopkins had hit from 26 and 47. Misses that one. So Florida State hangs on to the ball but couldn't score. BYU has it with time running out for them.
College Football Live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
It's the first German-engineered Buick powered by an all-aluminum engine rated one of Ward's 10 best. Equipped with a 6-speed automatic transmission that allows for manual shifting. If there was ever a time for an American Autobahn, this is it. Introducing the sport-injected 2011 Regal from Buick. And now lease this Buick Regal for $289 per month.
Hi, I'm David Garrard, quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. My teammates and I are excited about the upcoming season. However, my wife Mary and I are also excited about the upcoming Florida Forum season, and an incredible lineup of speakers and insights they will have to share with us. Get your tickets to this wonderful series and support Wolfson's Children's Hospital at the same time.
Make your reservations today. Call 202-2886 or visit us online, thefloridaforum.com.
We'll see you there.
Anything. We'll trade for anything at Kia of Orange Park. What's more, your anything could be worth up to $5,000. That's right, these folks traded this clunker in because they knew their trade could be worth up to $5,000. Or how about this? With your trade, you could be driving the all-new 2011 Kia Sportage for just $149 a month. We'll trade for anything, push, pull, or drag it. It could be worth up to $5,000, but only right here at Kia of Orange Park, landing in 118.
Chris Doering, former Gator in the studio. Tennessee has cut the lead to 7. Matt Sims to Justin Hunter.
Will Hill, back from a 2-game suspension, jumped the middle route there and left the receiver wide open in the cover 2 hole shot.
Not over yet in Knoxville. Don't forget our next game on ESPNU, Mississippi State and LSU kick off about 10 minutes after 7 Eastern time. That's next.
Thank you, fellas. Chris Doering in the studio. We want to offer our congratulations to ESPNU studio analyst Matt Stinchcomb, not in the studio today because he's being inducted this weekend into the University of Georgia Hall of Fame. Congratulations to him, a terrific All-American tackle in Athens, Georgia. Way to go, Matt. Heaps, if you're just joining us, has played quarterback in every series since the 4th series of this game.
And this is a great opportunity for him. You're at the point now where you just let him run your 2-minute drill. They've already been doing no huddle, but even here, speed up the pace a little bit.
DeLuigi, very solid at running back today, right up the middle. Stopped by Kendall Smith.
There's a little look at him spreading the ball around the field, mostly underneath passes. But that's kind of what Oklahoma did last week. They took a lot of underneath stuff against Florida State. They just had better athletes that were able to make guys miss.
And on a 3rd and 1, they're throwing the ball. Reed got in front of Cody Hoffman to knock it away.
Great job by Greg Reed. Great pass defense. And BYU is going to go for it on 4th and 1 here.
Have to down by 17, sort of an odd call on 3rd and 1. And now a timeout is taken by Florida State. Now Greg Reed with another nice defensive play at the corner position. We'll take a timeout and be right back.
Start your engine.
From the outside, you can't appreciate the wraparound contour of its 12-way power driver's seat, or the ice blue interior LED lighting. From the outside, you can't enjoy the standard USB and Bluetooth connectivity. But once you're behind the wheel, that's when you discover the beauty of the German-engineered, sport-injected 2011 Regal from Buick.
Down by 7. Final play for Detroit.
Only thing that would make this any better is overtime.
They'll need a miracle to win this football game. Harris slot right, drops back. Hines takes the pass at the 30. With the seam! Wow! Can you believe it? One man to beat! We're headed to overtime!
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
Field goal for the win!
Welcome back, Florida State with a timeout. They also are up 17, but here's a 4th and 1 for BYU on their own 29, but with time running out, they are going to go for it. Pam Ward along with former Florida State quarterback Danny Cannell. Florida State has not given up a point in this second half.
Made some great adjustments on both sides of the football. Offense came out, executed their offense almost flawlessly, and the defense has been harassing Jake Heaps for most of the second half.
That is the true freshman from Issaquah, Washington. Correa is the fullback. He gets met head on, and he appears to have the first down. Had to get right to the 30, and that's where they are. That's a tough yard.
That was a real tough yard. Met right at the point of contact and right at the line of scrimmage, but his forward momentum kept him moving to get the first down.
Correa, junior out of the state of Texas. Hit head on by Kendall Smith.
Kendall Smith right in his face, but using that momentum to get the first down.
Another BYU player is down on the field. We believe it's the center, Terrence Brown, who was the starting right guard last year in his first year as the starting center. This offense, boy, we talked about how they lost Max Hall, their great quarterback. Dennis Pitta, who was only the best receiving tight end in the history of the NCAA, and then Harvey Unga, who was their career rushing leader. So there's a lot of people they had to replace on this offense.
And you can really see, I mean, Bronco Mendenhall has done an outstanding job at BYU, one of the few teams that has 10-plus wins the last 4 years in a row. He's 50-15. It's the 4th winningest coach in the FBS in the last 5 years. Trying to get a look and see where Terrence Brown got hurt. Oh, you can see a guy kind of roll up on his leg. It's tough for those offensive linemen when they get in short yardage situations. Everybody's root hogging their way down and trying to keep the leverage.
And during that time the folks upstairs were reviewing the spot, and they're going to correctly say that he did just get over the 30-yard line for the first down, so BYU hangs on to it with just over 5 minutes left to go in this game. Shadows just about covering the entire field. It's cooled off considerably since when we started, when it was about 95 degrees. Heaps throws it in the general vicinity of Brian Correa. He was pressured by Anthony McLeod, was Heaps. So the big question for BYU when we talked to their coaches earlier this week was that they wanted to find a #1 quarterback. Bronco Mendenhall, who admitted he didn't like 2 quarterback systems, but was deferring to his offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Heaps completes that one to Hoffman for about a 7-yard gain. Do you think they found their quarterback today, Danny?
I do, but I think when you look at the way they described it, they want to do it according to situations, and Florida State's defense has shown the susceptibility to give up big pass plays, and they've got the passing quarterback in there. It'll be interesting to do when they face a team that's stronger against the pass to see if they go back to Riley Nelson. I believe they'd be better off to stick with Heaps.
A world of talent for this young man. Completes it to Correa. No, he doesn't, because Correa dropped it. No one knows better than Brian that he should have held on to it.
And Correa really had the room to work with there. If he would have caught it, could have ran towards the sideline and worked his way up the field and got out of bounds if he had held on.
Good news, Terrence Brown, the center, is back in there for BYU after being helped off the field a couple of plays ago. Another 4th down. 4th and 4 for BYU. Flags down, Heaps completes it. First down, pending the outcome of the penalty. DeLuigi with the catch.
Hold.
He's coming back.
Offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 4th down.
Jason Spiriton, the senior, one of 5 players on this BYU team who are fathers. Could you imagine being a dad in college?
I can hardly imagine being a dad now to my 2 little girls. I can't imagine doing it back when you're 18, 19, 20 years old.
Jason is a senior from West Valley City, Utah, called for that hold, so negate the first down.
And that is tough. And they had the first down. They made a great throw and catch, and to call it back. Now you've got a 4th down and long situation to keep yourselves in this game. It's going to be tough duty.
4th and 14. 4-man rush. Heaps has the ball knocked out of his hands. The ball is loose, covered up by Heaps, but it's Florida State ball inside the 10. And Bjorn Werner from Berlin, Germany, got in there on Heaps.
The German exchange student came over in high school from Germany, showing a relentless pursuit of the quarterback, stripping it out of Jake Heaps. That's something I've noticed today from the Florida State pass rush. Not only are they getting after the quarterback, but they're going for the football. You create those turnovers, that's what separates an average defense from a great one. This Florida State defense is still trying to get to even the good adjective to have people talk about them in that way, and it looks like they're well on their way.
And Christian Ponder's day is done. E.J. Manuel now comes in to play quarterback, has played in each of the first 2 games. Running to the outside, Chris Thompson, who has shown flashes of brilliance this afternoon. Taken down by Andrew Rich. E.J. Manuel, the Gator Bowl MVP, starting because Ponder had been out with the hurt shoulder.
And E.J. Manuel's an impressive young quarterback as well. I think the reps he got last year when Christian Ponder were invaluable to him, and is really going to help him make the transition when Christian Ponder graduates this season. Or excuse me, he's already graduated,
right.
But when he leaves Florida State.
When his football eligibility is exhausted.
That's right.
He already has got an undergrad degree in 2.5 years and an MBA already. Working on his 2nd master's. Into the end zone. Waiting for the signal. No, they're going to say that Thompson was stopped just short of the goal line.
Florida State grinding it out on the ground. See the great second effort, but I think he was short. Officials correctly on the call. I wonder if these running backs are arguing over who gets this next carry. Running backs by committee has been the way to go today for Florida State. all of them showing glimpses of being something special.
Ty Jones, there you see him, number 33. He's the tailback. Little play fake. Manuel loses the ball but pounces on it. Back at the 9. Jordan Pendleton again. Boy, what a game he has played. He was in on the quarterback.
On the play by number 22, Andrew Rich.
Well, I think Florida State thought they could get away with a little play action. They've been running it so much on these last few drives, expecting BYU to think they're going to grind out the clock again. But Jordan Pendleton doing a great job staying home, sticking to his assignments, being aware that E.J. Manuel is a great running quarterback, just like Christian Ponder, staying home and bringing him down.
Manuel, redshirt sophomore from Virginia Beach. There's been a lot of talent coming out of that area. 6'4", you see towering over the assistant coaches there on the sideline.
He is a physical specimen.
Florida State takes its final timeout. And we're going to take this time to get an update from Dari Noka. Dari.
Little drama in Madison here. Wisconsin trying to hold off Arizona State. Cameron Marshall into the end zone for the Sun Devils. They're down 1 late. Extra point. Why on earth would we show you this if it weren't blocked? Ouch. 20-19, Wisconsin hanging on.
In front of their rabid fans. The atmosphere in Death Valley is intimidating. And tonight,
extra point for Wisconsin could preserve a victory. Arizona State going into Madison today. Thank you, Dari. Here we've got, boy, it's been all Florida State here in the second half. It was 13-10 at the half. Florida State scored touchdowns on its first 2 possessions of the half. And they were close to scoring again. Their second-string quarterback, E.J. Manuel, has relieved Christian Ponder. Christian 14 of 21 for 149 yards and a touchdown today. Also ran for 58 yards and a score. And on 4th and goal, Florida State going for it and getting the touchdown, breaking another tackle. This time it's Ty Jones taking it in for the score.
Well, we saw him earlier shed a few tackles. Once again, great second effort by Ty Jones. Just a simple handoff from the shotgun. You cannot arm tackle these guys. You've got to bring them down. Andrew Rich, their strong safety, comes in. And the coaches said, as Andrew Rich goes, so the BYU defense goes. And you saw there, missed tackle, gave up the touchdown.
That was a good hold on a not great snap that time. Ty Jones has a couple of touchdowns today. Caught a 3-yard touchdown pass from Christian Ponder back in the 3rd quarter, and now the 9-yard touchdown run. And he is getting close to 100 yards. His teammate Chris Thompson already well over 100 yards on the ground today.
It's been a great day for the rushing game of Florida State, and it really is a tribute to their offensive line. So much experience on that front 5, and without Andrew Datko, their left tackle, who's been so stellar for them, to have Henry Orlees come in and fill in the spots got to be pretty comforting for Florida State.
Datko out with a banged up shoulder today. Here's the top 10. Alabama just absolutely running away at Duke as you expected. And we're looking, we don't see any upsets there this week. And the Oklahoma Air Force game, very interesting because those are the 2 teams that our 2 teams lost to. And look at Air Force hanging in there, only down 4.
Troy Calhoun does a great job out there at the Air Force Academy, and they run that triple option. It doesn't matter who you go against, you can give people fits, and obviously they're giving the Sooners fits today. And of course, you've got, if you're Oklahoma coming off a huge win at home, you've got to worry about motivating your players, keeping them up.
Air Force just kicked an extra point, so it's now 27-24. Oklahoma only up by 3, and that Oklahoma team absolutely destroyed, eviscerated, whatever kind of word you want to use. They crushed this team last week by the score of 47-17, beat Florida State. But good bounce back game. You think they should be feeling better about themselves than they did last week?
I think the coaches will be pleased. There was no sense of panic. I mean, obviously they never want to go in there and get a loss and have a poor performance, but the bounce back will be a sign of positivity. It'll be hopefully a sign of things to come for this Florida State team, and Jimbo Fisher passes his first test of adversity.
Dustin Hopkins continues to be Mr. Touchback for Florida State. What about BYU? All right, guys, they are 1-2 now on the season, and we'll get into the meat of their Mountain West Conference schedule. And remember, this is their last season in the Mountain West, because starting next year, they will be an independent in football only.
And that's going to be a lot of people across the country watching them. And Bronco Mendenhall is going to have a challenge, because he said this team reminds him with the youth of the first year he came in as head coach, where they went 7-6, struggled a little bit.
Still got him to a bowl game. They've been in a bowl game every year he's been there. True freshman Joshua Quezada getting a carry. The rest of the teams at Brigham Young, as BYU football goes independent, will be joining the West Coast Conference starting in the fall of 2011. They still have to figure out where some sports will be, because the West Coast Conference does not have all of the varsity sports that BYU has, but the men's and women's basketball, the so-called major Olympic sports, will be going into the West Coast Conference.
And Bronco was interesting. He said that the powers that be came and asked him for his opinion, and he said, you know what, guys, I have enough on my plate worrying about this football team, getting the right guys in the field, recruiting, game planning. You guys take care of it. I'll make sure our guys are ready to play.
Heaps has been the quarterback for most of the afternoon. Completes that to O'Neal Chambers for the first down. Florida State next week. They welcome Wake Forest, then go on the road to Virginia and Miami. And the ACC trying to regain some respectability after a tough week last week. Florida State among the ACC teams getting thumped. Heaps goes down again thanks to Dan Hicks. 7th sack of the day, depending on the penalty call.
Holding. Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
And let's not forget that Florida State did go on the road to an Oklahoma team that has an excellent chance of running the table and possibly playing in a national championship game. And we're talking about Jimbo Fisher in his first year as head coach, trying to revamp things. You've got Mark Stoops reworking the defense. But if they can get on track and get to that ACC title game, you'd have to hand it over to these coaches and the job they'd be able to do, but that's a long way off. We'll have to see how they respond.
2nd and 14 after the penalty. Heaps on the roll. Throws it downfield into double coverage. A great attempt by Chambers, but he was unable to bring it in.
And you can see just some of the raw talent that Heaps has, flinging the ball all over the field. I mean, that ball was delivered on a dime, very accurate. I don't know about the decision, but you're trying to make throws down the field at this point in the game, but the ball just comes off of his arm. You can see it from up here in the booth. It just comes off with a little extra velocity. He's got a lot of talent, a bright young future for this quarterback.
6'1", 194-pound true freshman. Now on 3rd and 14. And that one was thrown to Ashworth's wrong shoulder. Lamarcus Joyner, who the coaches here at Florida State thinks will be terrific, was on the coverage. Here's a 4th and 14, possibly the last play of the game for BYU. Florida State with 280 rushing yards today, 7 sacks for the defense. All in all, a good afternoon in Tallahassee. Heaps gets hit right as he throws it. Somebody's lost a helmet. The ball goes over to Florida State on downs. Dan Hicks again bringing the pressure.
Pam, it makes you feel a little old when you play with a guy's father, but I played with Dan Hicks' dad. Dan Footman was an outstanding defensive lineman for Florida State back when I played. But Dan Hicks showing that he has some of his father's skills, getting to the quarterback. Once again, getting after the football. Looks like he's going to have a bright future at Florida State as well.
Walter Kahali'i from Lahaina on Maui lost his helmet on that hit. So a very impressive, terrific bounce back game for Florida State. They shut out BYU in the second half, and they win it by the final of 34-10. Coming up next, SportsCenter U, followed at 7 Eastern by ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Mississippi State is taking on LSU. Christian Ponder with a touchdown run and a touchdown pass as well. College football fans, tune into The Experts, 6 experts on ESPNU at 1 and 7 p.m. Eastern, discussing college football. This has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Danny Cannell and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Pam Ward. A very impressive day for Florida State. They win it by the final of 34-10. Thompson, 123 yards on the ground. So long from Tallahassee, and hello to Dari Noka in the studio.
All right, Pam, thank you much. Don't forget Chris Ralph and that Mississippi State Bulldog team going to get a shot at LSU. Kickoff just under 20 minutes from now right here on ESPNU. It will get you to that kickoff in Baton Rouge. Let's update Air Force at Oklahoma. Now, the Sooners blasted that Florida State team last year. They come out a little bit slow and sluggish here at home against Air Force. Kyle Halderman touchdown. It's a 3-point game. It is Oklahoma ball with just a couple of minutes to go. We will keep you posted there. OU with a 2nd and 6. Welcome into our ESPNU studios. Sports Center U, Dari Noka, Chris Doering, former Florida wide receiver, all SEC, All-American. You're interested in what's going on in the SEC.
Yeah, a lot of great action in the SEC today, including my alma mater.
Including, yeah, your alma mater, Florida. A little scary there for a little bit, but they'll be okay. How about Alabama and Duke? Well, Ingram back. Mark Ingram. You want action? How about your first carry of the season, Mark Ingram?
Yeah, we were curious to see how Nick Saban utilized Mark Ingram after coming back from that scope that he had just over 2 weeks ago. The guy completely went off today. A great ball game for Mark Ingram, and I think certainly you see that he's back and healthy.
You know, last year, Ingram had 2 carries all season of at least 45 yards. He had 2 carries of at least 45 yards in the first quarter. Today, that one goes for 50. In the first 6 minutes, he had that. Ingram, 19 yards. Touchdown. How about a 9-carry, 151-yard, 2-touchdown day? And those numbers might have been better had they not blown the doors off Duke. Here's Trent Richardson. Not doing a lot rushing the ball, 7 carries for 61, but on a kick return, he gone.
Can't forget about Trent Richardson. This guy is a tremendous backup. I know you got a great running back in Mark Ingram. That's a Heisman Trophy winner, but Trent Richardson is a beast as well.
62-13, Alabama just destroying Duke. Now, nobody was sure how healthy he was going to be, Ingram. How much, if it would be difficult to ease him back in, get him back in. Would he do slow? They have Arkansas next week on the road. I think all those questions are probably answered. Alabama looks like a clear-cut number 1.
Now, they are a fabulous team. And you look at the depth. We talked about having the luxury of having Trent Richardson backing up Mark Ingram. You look at A.J. McCarron. He's going to be a very good quarterback behind Greg McElroy. This offensive line, one of the best in the country. You can't say enough about this Alabama offense.
Yeah, Ingram, again, 9 carries and 151 yards as they go to Arkansas. It could be interesting.
Yeah, I think this was a good game to get Ingram back, get him healthy before going into that big game in Arkansas.
How about getting someone back? Sean Drone back for North Carolina. Of course, he missed that LSU game along with many of his teammates. NCAA investigation, question marks. They were playing a Georgia Tech team coming off a loss to Kansas. Boy, Georgia Tech, though, nice quick start there. Orwin Smith, his only carry goes for 73.
Tough to defend that triple option. You don't see it a lot during the season.
Well, T.J. Yates rolling, finding Eric Highsmith. Touchdown, Carolina.
I like T.J. Yates rolling to the left, throwing down the field across his body. Nice throw by the quarterback.
Yates in his 13th year at UNC.
Yeah, he's been there forever.
Seems that way, doesn't it? How about Joshua Nesbitt? He threw it 4 times. That's a big number for Georgia Tech. That's Roddy Jones, 41 yards.
Completed 3 of them, though. Not a bad throwing percentage for him.
75, you'll take it. Led to a 1-yard Nesbitt touchdown run. And then Yates facing a 4th and 10. Little farm shovel pass. Get it out of here to Johnny White, but they needed 10. They got 5. Carolina losing 30-24 for the 2nd straight game. How about East Carolina and Virginia Tech? Now, Ryan Williams, his Hokies were 0-2. Surely they wouldn't start 0-3. Williams, oh no. Helmet to the knee. Left the game. Ryan Williams, the super sophomore running back, did not return. It was up to Darren Evans on the running game for Virginia Tech, and here's Evans.
With as much as Virginia Tech was hyped before the season, no way they could come back and start this season 0-3. It looked like they were suffering a little bit of a hangover early from that James Madison game.
Well, that's what they needed there was a win. But look at ECU. This Dominique Davis, he is a good quarterback, a junior in his first year starting for the Pirates. Got down to the 1, led to a touchdown run. So ECU was up at the break, and then, oh, what is this defense? I remember they used to have this at Virginia
Yeah,
Tech.
they were supposed to be good, weren't they?
Yeah.
Good play there. Nice. Got them some momentum and easily pulled away in the second half.
Rashad Carmichael there. So Virginia Tech avoids that 0-3 start. All right, we just saw Florida State look good in a win over BYU. What impressed you the most about Florida State, 34-10?
Well, going into the game this week, after last week's debacle at Oklahoma, they talked about tackling better. They missed 15 tackles last week per Jimbo Fisher's estimation. This week, they played much better on defense. It gave up only under 50 yards in the second half, no points, and I thought the defense was much improved. Big ups to the offense as well. The running backs combined for 280 yards on the ground, something that they needed to take some of the pressure off of Christian Ponder.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the ACC, and we were kind of bashing that league earlier today, probably fairly so based on what happened last week. You look at Florida State. Does this team look like a group that is ready to maybe be in that top 2 or 3 of this league, maybe even win this league? It is a down year for them.
I was going to say, if they end up winning this league, it's because the league is down. I think they certainly are a couple years away from being back, but you know they have great players. They always recruit within the top 10 in the country. Jimbo Fisher has instilled a kind of a new sense, renewed pride there at Florida State. So I think they're going to be back. I don't think it's going to be this year, though.
All right, we're waiting at kickoff from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's the game that's next here on ESPNU as LSU takes on Mississippi State. And well, if there's ever a defensive player that maybe gets a little Heisman hype this year, this is the guy. Patrick Peterson, a cornerback, a return man. A little bit of Charles Woodson in that young man if you watch him closely. And, well, maybe he'll have another big day to watch for LSU. Kickoff less than 15 from now.
You look like an angel. Walk like an angel. Talk like an angel. But I got wise. You're the devil in disguise.
We put it through over 5,000 quality tests, so it'll stand up to just about anything. The Nissan Altima. Innovation that lasts. Innovation for all.
I'm a good son, dependable. I call my mom every week. I even bought her a computer with my new City Forward card. Then one day,
Have you seen this?
she friended me.
Oh, there's a whole album.
And started posting pictures and tagging me publicly.
You ought to be rewarded for being dependable. The City Forward card gives you extra points for paying your bill on time and staying within your credit limit. What's your story? The City Forward card can help you write it.
Check this out. This is the front brake pad you get at car dealers and the big auto repair chains. 2 wheels installed. It's going to be $150, maybe $200 bucks. This is the front and rear brake pad you get at Brakes for Less. $99 installed with a parts and labor guarantee. Seems like a better deal to me. Brakes for Less. It's going to save you time and money. We guarantee it.
Brakes for Less, home of the $99 4-wheel brake job. Visit Brakes for Less, 8 locations locally. Call 733-S.
Hey Jacksonville, what's your trade worth? Here at Kia of Orange Park, it could be worth a minimum $5,000. Now I'm on the back lot of Kia of Orange Park where we will trade for anything. And here's the proof. Look at this old classic clunker right here. Yeah, it's a classic, but we had to drag it on in. Well, if you can push, pull, or drag your vehicle in, it could be worth a minimum $5,000 at Kia of Orange Park because we will trade for anything. Bring it on by today. It's only at Kia of Orange Park, landing in 118th. Come on by.
Chris Doring, Dari Noke in studio. Kelvin Shepard and LSU 11 and change from kicking off at home against Mississippi State. LSU trying to stay perfect on the season. That game next right here on ESPNU. All right, let's show you some top 5 scores. Ohio State, good game from Terrell Pryor, an easy win over the Bobcats of Ohio. Oregon right now leading in the first over Portland State. Explosive offense, 2 touchdowns already for Darren Thomas, the quarterback. TCU 38-10 over Baylor, just blowing the doors off of that Big 12 team. So they will have hammered a Big 12 team. They've beaten Oregon State out of the Pac-10. Thought Baylor would be a little bit more competitive today. You look at those 3 scores, what jumps out at you?
Well, I mean, you look at, I think probably the big one there is TCU, the speed that they have. Baylor coming in undefeated in this ballgame. We thought it'd be one of the better games of the day, perhaps an upset, but TCU handled their business, went out there and didn't even let them be close.
Unbelievable. TCU looks really, really good. That kind of speed, they certainly can play with anybody. Can we put them in that in that title picture.
Yeah, no, I like them. We haven't seen a lot of Boise yet, but I like TCU, I think, better than Boise after watching, the 3 games today.
Yeah, perhaps we should put them there. By the way, one other update. Oklahoma Air Force has gone final 27-24. Not a real impressive day for those Sooners as they go to Cincinnati next week. All right, so Ohio State, all good. Number 2 in the land. You're good with that? Terrell Pryor, again, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Terrell Pryor looked good today. I thought that he had an excellent effort after coming back and playing well against Miami last week. Starting to put together some momentum and playing with consistency. That's something I thought that he had lacked prior to this season as the Ohio State quarterback.
All right, if you're just tuning in here to ESPNU, we have an idea why you want to see Mississippi State and LSU. That game kicking off less than 10 minutes from now. Chris Doring, Dari Noka in our ESPNU SportsCenter U studios, keeping you company until that point. Let's show you what's going on, though, elsewhere in the SEC. Florida taking on Tennessee. This offense, kind of a slow go here. Oh, not again. Mike Pouncey can't connect with John Brantley.
That's a basic play, man. You got to get the center quarterback exchange if you hope to be successful on offense.
All right, second half, Tennessee. Matt Sims down 10-3. Oh, where's the coverage?
Florida 2 blown coverages in this ball game today. I thought Tennessee did a good job of hanging around for most of the first half.
So a 10-10 game, and then get the Omarius Hines. That is a big boy doing some damage there.
We talked before the game about how Florida would win. It would be with special teams and defense. They did it there on the fake punt with Omarius Hines, and then the interception by Jeremy Brown would ultimately set up another score for Florida.
Yeah, John Brantley touchdown pass there. So the Gators starting to feel good about things in Knoxville. They're up 14, and then Sims. Wow, another breakdown coverage.
Yeah, Will Hill jumped the middle route, leaving the receiver wide open down the sideline.
And then more Florida. There's your capper.
The backup quarterback there with the nail in the coffin for the Gators.
So 31-17 is the final there. Your take on Florida's offense coming in and what you saw today?
It's exactly what I expected from them. I thought that it was a very conservative game plan on offense. They didn't want to put John Brantley in his first road start in a situation where he might get damaged to his psyche. I thought that they ran the ball fairly poorly in the first half, but continued to pound away and wore down on that Tennessee defense in the second half. But the strength of this Florida team clearly is the defense and the special teams.
So Florida victorious. They stay unbeaten on the year. Get a win at Tennessee, who's 1-2 for the 4th straight season. How about more SEC? Maybe the must-see game in this league, at least early in the day. Arkansas visiting Georgia. Now, Georgia hasn't been 0-2 in conference play since 1993. Ryan Mallett. The play action, and he finds a wide open Chris Gragg.
Nobody runs the play action better than Ryan Mallett here in the SEC. Most of their big plays come off of the play action game.
Mallett, 408 passing yards in a loss to Georgia last year. He played them well through 5 touchdowns. Meanwhile, for Georgia this year, Aaron Murray, touchdown run.
Aaron Murray had a decent game in the first half, picked it up in the second half with Chris Durham making some big plays down the field for them in the passing game.
So while Mallett's always been good against Georgia, he has struggled away from home. That's the talk about Mallett, but not so today as he finds Ronnie Wingo Jr. and then Aaron Murray to Tavares King. Georgia not going away in the 4th down, a touchdown.
Georgia certainly benefiting from having Tavares King return. Once they get A.J. Green back, certainly going to take some pressure off of King.
Well, they tie it up. Washawn Ely, and all the momentum's going Georgia's way. And I'm going to call you out. You
call me out, man.
You say Arkansas's done.
They're done at that point.
Off the air, they're done.
I didn't know Georgia was going to blow a coverage here at the end of the game, too. I wish you'd have told me that.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't let you in on that one. Mallett to Greg Childs, 40 yards in the closing seconds, and Arkansas gets a huge road win in advance of a home game Saturday against number 1 Alabama. Look at what Mallett has done the last 2 years against Georgia. Nearly 800 total passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and no interceptions. How much of a question did he answer about playing away from home in advance of a huge game at home next week?
Not only playing away from home, but I thought this was a situation where he's playing a conference opponent. A lot of people said he rolled up big numbers against the non-conference teams last year. He went in on the road, threw for 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, but the most important number, Dari, 0 interceptions today. Did an excellent job of protecting the football.
All right, so the game that's coming up next, again, more SEC, Mississippi State, and LSU. What's the biggest thing you're looking at here between the Bulldogs and the Tigers?
Well, I'm looking at a couple different things.
Okay.
First off, I'm looking at Jordan Jefferson, much maligned quarterback there. LSU fans getting tired of some of his inconsistencies. Look for Jarrett Lee to come in early if the Tiger offense struggles. And then for Mississippi State, that two-quarterback system, a little bit of an inconsistent flow for them. They got to find some rhythm with Chris Welf and Tyler Russell. So I'm interested to see how Dan Mullen puts those guys in back and forth.
It's LSU's first home game of the year. Jordan Jefferson this week basically asking the fans for mercy. Take it easy on me.
Yeah,
give me some time. You're a junior now. You've had time.
He's had some time. He's got to start putting up some numbers and some production for this team. But certainly when you're having to plead your own cause, that's not a good situation.
Have mercy, Bayou Bengal fans. Clay Matnick, Herm Edwards have the call from Baton Rouge. Enjoy the game. We'll be back here at halftime.
Welcome to Baton Rouge, and perhaps the greatest venue in all of college football. After 2 straight wins on the road, LSU is finally home in front of their rabid fans. The atmosphere in Death Valley is intimidating, and tonight's guest, Mississippi State, will soon be reminded that this is one tough place for all visiting teams.
Craziest game I ever played in would probably be a night game at LSU. Freshman year, and I seen the bus rocking back and forth. I was like, are these fans serious?
LSU is like the crowd just down on you, you know.
Definitely LSU. Definitely LSU fans.
Here come the Tigers back at home for the first time this year. Welcome to the SEC on ESPN. It's ESPNU's College Football Prime Time, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Tonight, a big one in the SEC West. The Bulldogs of Mississippi State and number 15, LSU. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Death Valley, a fun place to watch a college football game on a Saturday night. Alongside my partner, the coach, Herm Edwards, I'm Clay Matnick. LSU on the road for the first 2 weeks. They got wins, but they weren't pretty. That offense struggled, and quarterback Jordan Jefferson, who was supposed to take a step forward this year, not in good shape after 2 weeks, and the numbers don't lie.
Well, when you look at Jordan Jefferson, the thing you understand about this kid, he has great talent, but right now he has no confidence in the passing game, and that's where they're suffering. Coach Gary Croton's going to have to orchestrate and script some offensive passing plays early in this football game to give this guy some confidence.
Mississippi State used to be considered a soft spot in the schedule. Things are changing. They almost got a statement win against Auburn last week at home. Dan Mullen's team playing pretty good football right now. What do the Bulldogs have to do to take this crowd out of it early?
Well, Dan Mullins understands. He built his football team with his offensive line. That's the strength of this team, and when you have a good offensive line, you can run the ball, and that's what you have to do when you come on the road.
Now, they'll try to do it. It won't be easy. You can see it's been almost 2 decades since the Bulldogs got a win here in Baton Rouge. And these fans have waited for the Tigers to come back to Death Valley since last November. They don't want to be disappointed. Kick coming up next.
It's another perfect day out here today.
Can I get you anything else?
We gotta get back to work.
Whoa, I spoke too soon. This just in. A freak storm is blowing into the area. We're going to be experiencing hurricane-force winds and dense fog, followed by sheets of driving rain. Stay inside, hunker down, grab a beer. This is going to be a long one.
Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be
We're
here.
receiving reports of hail the size of... Oh, boy.
Style points don't show up in the box score. Talking a good game has never won a championship. And we're sorry to break it to you. It's not the shoes. It's the work, the pride, the blood, and the tears. Because Russell's wicking sweat out of the equation. Russell Dry Power Moisture Wicking Tees and Fleece. The next evolution in over 100 years of raw performance.
92,000 plus chomping at the bit as number 15 LSU is moments away from kicking off its home opener. And these fans will be watching Jordan Jefferson's every move after 2 uninspiring starts. The Tigers junior quarterback pleaded with the fan base to be patient with him and realistic. Quote, "I'm a college player. I'm still learning." He asked them to keep faith in him and wait for him to help the offense. For more, let's go down to Olympic gold medalist Jessica Mendoza.
Thanks, Clay. I was able to catch up with offensive coordinator Gary Croton yesterday. He said these LSU fans get so caught up in having that lights-out type quarterback. All they want to see as coaches, and Jordan Jefferson is making sure he gets comfortable, manages his offense, and eliminates those big mistakes. In talking with Jordan yesterday, he said, hey, if I can just get into a rhythm early on with my wide receivers, I am definitely going to be able to gain confidence and build throughout the game. Clay, we are definitely be looking at Jordan Jefferson early on in this game.
You and a lot of folks tonight. Jarrett Lee, LSU starter in 2008, is prepared to play if Jefferson should falter, and Les Miles said he's definitely comfortable playing him, so keep an eye on that. There's Sean Broccoli, the senior from Biloxi, Mississippi. He's got it on the tee, and we're ready to go. Patrick Peterson, the main event against Carolina, 257 return yards in the opener. He's back to receive. And we're underway in Death Valley. Peterson from the 4. Finds a seam. Out at the 42-yard line.
That is a big start for LSU. Now the crowd is into the football game, and hopefully Jordan Jefferson can build on that.
A 39-yard return. And Jefferson, 11-5 as LSU starter, comes out. Taking a lot of heat after shaky games against Carolina and Vandy. In fact, a career worst game against Vanderbilt last week. 8 for 20, 96 yards, threw a pick in the end zone.
You're exactly right. And when you look at the field position that Jordan Jefferson and LSU has right now, they're in position, if they can make some early first downs, to go down and put points on the board early in this football game.
Adrian Marcus slow to get off the field. Wow, that block right there.
Great block there. I mean, that's what you call starting it off on special teams right there now. That gets the crowd excited. That gets your football team excited on the sideline.
That was Craig Lawston that threw the block, and it was actually Zach Smith that took the shot, and he is woozy heading to the sideline. So good field position for LSU. And Jefferson will start from out of the gun. Russell Shepard comes in motion, and the first play is a pass, covered well, caught at the 41-yard line. And Mitch Joseph with the catch. Well, Stephen Ridley had 2 fumbles in the Carolina game. He atoned for his mistakes last week against Vanderbilt. Had a 159-yard night. The LSU O-line lost junior guard Will Blackwell on the first play against Carolina. Josh Williford has done a great job in his stead by all reports. Second down and 10. Jefferson buried at the 41-yard line, and again slow out of the gates. This LSU offense right with the tackle. Mississippi State has new defensive coordinators, Manny Diaz and Chris Wilson. They like to attack. Pernell McPhee is their best pass rusher. Linebackers led by Chris White, a former Georgia recruit. And the free safety, Nico Whitley, picked off Cam Newton last week as the Dogs held Auburn to 348 yards of total offense. They're going to need a big game here against this LSU team.
You did not want to be in 3rd and 11, opening drive.
Jefferson trying to convert on 3rd down, feels some heat, gets out of the pocket, runs. He's got enough for the first down and slides at the 45-yard line of Mississippi State. Heads up play by Jefferson, and they'll move the chains.
You're exactly right, and that's why you have an athletic quarterback. They can make plays with their feet. He did a great job of reading the coverage,
People were covered. He didn't panic in the pocket. Watch him here. He tucks the ball, and this is what happens when you have an athletic quarterback. They can make a first down. Now they made a wonderful first down on 3rd and 11. Now they keep the drive alive.
Now he'll step up under center. Hand off to Stephen Ridley. And he'll churn away, pick up about 4 yards on that carry. Ridley had a breakout game last week. Now 3rd in the SEC in rushing at 120 yards per game. In that Vanderbilt game last week, Coach, they handed it off to him in the second half, and they put Vandy away.
Well, Les understands that that's how you finish the game, running the football in the 4th quarter. And if you're going to win in this division, you have to be able to run the ball and put the game away in the 4th quarter.
2nd down and 7 from the 42 of Mississippi State. Jefferson, little pitch. Russell Shepard. Step out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. It's going to bring up 3rd down and manageable. Les Miles in his 6th year as head coach here in Baton Rouge, fighting a cold this week and also fighting some critics. Wins over Carolina and Vanderbilt did not come easy.
Yeah, you're right, but here again, they've got the first home game. They need to win this football game. If they win this, they're 3-0. How about that?
Yeah, the bottom line is they're winning the games. That's maybe what some of the critics and fans forget. 3rd and 2. Alfred Blue in the game in the backfield. Jefferson rolling out to his left, being pursued. And again, it's going to be close to a first down. Out at the 34. Looks like he got it.
Yeah, and good play by Gary Croton. He took Jefferson and used his athleticism and rolled him to the field, knowing he had an option with 2 receivers. If they were covered, watch him here. He got him outside. Looks like he makes the first down here. And he makes the play.
First down from the 34. Jefferson to Ridley. And Ridley is going to be stopped in the backfield. Good job by that pursuit defensive line. This Mississippi State defensive line is good, and the linebackers also. A couple of seniors back there.
Chris White is a very good middle linebacker. Good and key in diagnosing plays, and it's hard to run the football on Mississippi State, especially on first downs. They put 8 guys in the box. It makes it very difficult.
2nd down and 11. Jefferson has time, flares it out. It's Russell Shepard, has a little room on that far sideline. It closes down quickly as Jonathan Banks, the left corner, runs him out. Shepard, a former high school quarterback, great athlete out of Houston, Texas. His focus this year, is at the wide receiver position, but we could see him run it and throw it as well tonight.
Yeah, he's the wild card of this offense, the joker you might want to call him. And he can play quarterback, he's playing wide receiver. And if you look at Gary Croton right now, he's doing a great job of orchestrating passes, nice, easy passes that Jefferson can complete.
Already 3 touchdowns this year for Shepard. 3rd down and 4 for Gary Croton's offense. At the 28 of Mississippi State, pressure coming. Jefferson unloads. And it's Terrence Tolliver who caught it underneath, short of the first down by a couple of yards. The senior receiver with his first catch of the night. There is Wright again, KJ Wright, the outside linebacker.
Even though they didn't score, remember this, they took the ball and went on a nice drive. Now they got a chance to kick a field goal here, put points on the board. Jefferson has gotten a little bit of rhythm now, did a great job of understanding they were bringing pressure, got rid of the ball, didn't take a sack. Now they're in field goal range.
This will be a 44-yard attempt from Jasper. He was good from 36 and 23 last week. And LSU's on the board.
Nice drive, set up by the kickoff return, Peterson.
So Jordan Jefferson gets some points on the board for his team.
You look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise.
We put it through over 5,000 quality tests, so it'll stand up to just about anything. The Nissan Altima. Innovation that lasts. Innovation for all.
How are you getting to a happier place? Running there? Dancing there? Flying there? How about eating soup to get there? Delicious Campbell's soups fill you with good nutrition, energy, farm-grown ingredients, and can help you keep a healthy weight, helping you get to a happier place. Have a nice trip. Campbell's, it's amazing what soup can do.
I'm a Wrangler guy. Always have been, always will be.
Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. For long-lasting comfort, the right choice is Wrangler.
Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Your source for the best gridiron coverage is College Football Live. Our team is on the pulse of the game, bringing you analysis.
If they lose this game, they're definitely out of the national championship talk.
Breaking news, highlights, and big game predictions.
I'm going big red, baby.
Plus, we go deep for exclusive interviews.
The secret is out, my friend.
And unique features that will keep you wanting more.
Let's go, guys. Come on.
College Football Live, weekdays at 4 on ESPNU.
This telecast is presented in high definition on ESPNU HD by Comcast.
Lo Galindo here in studio getting you up to date. Action over on ESPN. Clemson and Auburn. The fellas from South Carolina open up on a 76-yard drive. Jamie Harper reversing fields. Clemson Tigers with the 7-0 lead. South Carolina also with the lead over Furman. It's Florida over Tennessee. And on the first play for Mark Ingram, he carries 48 yards, and Alabama rolls 62-13. Play.
Thank you, Lowell. Good to see Ingram back. And fans here in Baton Rouge happy to see Jordan Jefferson lead his team on a drive, albeit a short one, and it results in points.
That's all that matters, points. First possession, they went down the football field and scored points.
Peterson's kick return helped set up that drive. 10 plays, 32 yards, and a 44-yard field goal from Jasper, and he kicks off now. And this is going to be Chad Bumpus on the return for Mississippi State, and he is upended at the 21-yard line. Tyrann Mathieu on the tackle. Now Chris Ralph making his third straight start tonight. But we will probably see freshman Tyler Russell and probably early here in this game. Ralph is considered the running threat. Russell the better passing quarterback in this offense.
Yeah, and it's important for Ralph on this drive is not take any negative plays.
First offensive play for Mississippi State on the option. Ralph pitches it out to Robert Elliott. Good pursuit there by Patrick Peterson, the corner. Now there's no Anthony Dixon in the backfield this year for the Bulldogs. It's kind of by committee at the running back position. Elliott starts. The left tackle is special. Up front, it's senior Derek Sherrod. He's one of the 4 captains for this Mississippi State bunch. Like you said before, Herm, they like to establish the run. Yeah. Second down and 7. Little inside handoff. It's Vic Ballard. And he gets across the 25 down at the 27-yard line. As we take a look at LSU's defense, and it's got championship caliber written all over. Defensive tackle Drake Nevis leads the SEC in sacks. Middle linebacker Kelvin Shepard. He stayed at LSU after considering the NFL. And Patrick Peterson on the Thorpe Award watch list. Here's that crowd on 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, and this is a manageable down for Mississippi State. They can run or pass when it's 3rd and 3. They have both options.
92,000 plus in the ears of these Bulldogs. Little scene for Robert Elliott. It looks like he's got the first down. Elliott just 4 carries for 14 yards last week, but Dan Mullen is pleased with his development, and they get a big pickup.
That's very important. If you continue to make first downs, guess what? You take the crowd out of the stadium now. The crowd had to settle back down. They were making some noise, and now you got the game under control. The crowd, keep the crowd out of it.
First down of the night for Mississippi State. This offense hoping to rebound. Had a big night against Memphis a couple of weeks ago. Struggled a little bit against Auburn. Just 246 yards of total offense. Ralph to the flat. And a screen for Chad Bumpus. And he's out at the 40. Bumpus led the team in rushing and receiving against Auburn. But the number's not good. 27 yards rushing, 34 receiving. A little telling about how things went against Auburn.
Yeah, and really, you want to get Bumpus the ball in the slot here because really, a lot of times he's matched up against a linebacker in zone. He can catch the ball and make 3 or 4 yards for you and put you in good second down situations. 2nd and 5. Ralph. Try Bumpus again on this side. This time it's snuffed out. Brandon Taylor, the strong safety. And that's a loss of 3. And that is a great play because the reason you throw this pass out here, you want to get one-on-one with Bumpus and a defensive back or a linebacker. That's a great tackle in space. So now 3rd and 8. Ralph, ball comes loose. And it looks like Mississippi State recovered at the 29. Tyrann Mathieu knocked it loose. Number 14 having a big first quarter. Yeah, but that sack was caused because of Peterson. Ralph was going to Peterson's sides, and he snuffed the receiver out. He had nowhere to go with the football when you look back at this. He wanted to throw Peterson's guy. Peterson had this guy blanketed, and that's what caused the rush to get there. Watch, he wants to throw it. He can't throw it. Peterson did a great job of covering. One of the best defenses so far in the SEC. And LSU forcing Mississippi State to punt. Heath Hutchins comes on the kick. Peterson standing at the 29, calling for the fair catch. That's something that Vandy did a good job of last week. You know, keeping Peterson out of the return game.
You're
Jefferson
exactly right.
coming back out with the LSU offense when we return.
What's your 2:30 feeling like?
Well, it's like my brain just stops working. Feel fuzzy, groggy.
I can barely keep my eyes open.
So what do you do?
I used to get another coffee.
Yeah, coffee or soda.
Then another coffee.
I switched to 5-Hour Energy.
Just one 5-hour energy.
The rest of the day, I'm great. 0 sugar, only 4 calories.
I don't feel jittery. I'm in control.
It's me. Just a better, more awake me.
Gotta try 5-Hour Energy.
5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now. No 2:30 feeling later.
You look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise.
We put it through over 5,000 quality tests, so it'll stand up to just about anything. The Nissan Altima. Innovation that lasts. Innovation for all.
I'm a good son, dependable. I call my mom every week. I even bought her a computer with my new City Forward card. Then one
Have
day,
you seen this?
she friended me
Oh, there's a whole album.
and started posting pictures and tagging me publicly. You ought to be rewarded for being dependable. The City Forward card gives you extra points for paying your bill on time and staying within your credit limit. What's your story? The City Forward card can help you write it.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no 2:30 feeling later. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com. Death Valley, it's been called the scariest place to play in America. 3-0 LSU here in the first quarter. And since Les Miles has come to Baton Rouge, the Tigers are 24-1 on Saturday night at home. The only blemish, a loss last year to Tim Tebow in Florida.
It's a pretty good record at home, isn't it? Especially at night.
And they get a gold out
win a
here
lot
tonight.
of games that way.
Here's a pitch to Stephen Ridley on first down. This is the second series of the night for LSU, their first one resulted in 3 points. 10 plays, 32 yards.